You took over the family business at 10, grew it into a $10 billion enterprise by 18, and by 20, your net worth soared past $100 billion, making you the wealthiest man in New York City. Yet, on your wedding day, the fiancé you'd practically raised yourself leaped out of a window and ran off with some pretty boy. When you heard the news, you let out a long sigh of relief, because this wedding was a trap you had set yourself. The Sterling and Mason families had arranged a childhood engagement pact 20 years ago, making you and Chloe Mason childhood sweethearts. Over the years, you propelled the Sterling family into the top 5 of New York City, and the Masons had profited immensely by riding your coattails. If things had gone as planned, you would have married Chloe, and the two families would have created an even greater empire together. But everything changed 3 years ago with the appearance of a guy named Leo Nash. Chloe gradually grew distant, spending all her time traveling and having fun with her little brother Leo. It was then that you gave up on Chloe, and by extension, the Mason family. The only reason you endured it all and proceeded with the wedding was to create a legitimate reason to completely reclaim everything you had ever given them. What you didn't know, however, was that your foolish adopted sister at home had been eagerly awaiting this very moment. After leaving the wedding venue, you got into your car. Your assistant quickly handed you a tablet. "Mr. Sterling, this is the security footage of Miss Mason fleeing the wedding." You nodded and swiped to play the video. The assistant whispered, "We've already contained the news, and I've had someone tail Miss Mason. Should we go bring her back now?" "No need. Lift the news block immediately. Buy the top trending spots on Twitter and spread the story of Chloe Mason running from her wedding. Then, notify all departments to terminate all cooperation with the Masons and withdraw all financial support." The assistant was stunned. "Sir, perhaps you should reconsider? This will damage your reputation." You waved a hand dismissively. "A damaged reputation is nothing. Just make sure my assets aren't damaged. Get everything ready. Tomorrow, I'm taking back every single thing I ever gave the Masons. Also, all the properties and luxury cars Chloe bought with my credit card, repossess them all." Just then, a ringtone interrupted your orders. It was Chloe. You casually answered the call. "I'm sorry, Ethan." Chloe's apologetic voice came through the phone. "I'm so sorry about today. It's just my godbrother Leo. He's in such a pitiful state. His mother is in the emergency room right now, and he's all alone in New York with no one but me. I had to come be with him. I promise, as soon as his mom is out of danger, I'll come right back and marry you." You chuckled and asked, "Chloe, I don't quite understand. What does Leo's mother being in the ER have to do with you? Is she your long-lost mother? Because I recall Catherine Mason is your actual mother, and she was at the wedding." Chloe hesitated. "Ethan, you're a grown man. Can you stop being so passive-aggressive? Leo's mother is my godmother. My godmother is in surgery, and I'm here to support her. Is that so wrong?" "Of course you're not wrong, I am. It was foolish of me to even ask when I knew what the answer would be. When your godmother's surgery is over, be sure to let me know. I'll send her a large fruit basket to thank her." Chloe frowned. "What's that supposed to mean? Are you threatening me? Didn't I already promise to come back and marry you after the surgery? Can you stop being so unreasonable? I hate petty people, and I don't want my future husband to be like that." Your head spun a little. You had no idea how you were being unreasonable or petty. You were genuinely grateful to Leo's mother. Without her, Chloe wouldn't have fled so decisively, and you would have had to resort to your backup plan, which would have cost you hundreds of millions, maybe even over $1 billion. You saw another call coming in. "I've got another call. We'll talk some other time." You hung up on Chloe. "Catherine, what's up?" The caller was Chloe's mother, Catherine Mason, who was also your mother's best friend. "Ethan, where did you run off to?" You laughed. "Where else? I went home, of course." Catherine was taken aback. "You didn't go look for Chloe?" You frowned. "Why would I go look for her?" Catherine blurted out. "She's your bride. Aren't you going to find her?" You were speechless. "Catherine, she ran away from the wedding. That means she's not my bride anymore. Do you understand that simple fact?" Catherine paused, then said, "It's normal for young couples to have little fights. Why don't you just go and coax her a bit? Chloe is easy to please. Say a few nice words, buy her a small gift, and she won't be angry anymore." Hearing this, you were truly at a loss for words, wondering what on earth went on in these people's heads. Did they really think jilting someone at the altar was a trivial matter? Shaking your head, you hung up the phone. At a high-end private hospital in New York, Chloe, still in her custom-made wedding gown, stood anxiously outside the emergency room. Beside her, Leo Nash wore a worried expression. "Chloe, if you run out like this, won't Ethan be angry?" Chloe smiled. "He won't be. I know him. In all these years, he's never once been angry with me. Besides, I've already explained it to him. As soon as my godmother is out of danger, I'll go back and marry him. He's a man of great character. Why would he blame me for this?" Meanwhile, as you arrived back at your estate, 2 rows of servants bowed in unison. "Welcome home, Mr. Sterling." You waved with a smile. "We're all familiar faces here. There's no need for such formality. You all come out to greet me every time I come home. It must be tiring. It makes me feel a bit awkward." The servants chanted in unison. "We're not tired. You're the one who works hard, sir." You gave an awkward laugh. This over-the-top greeting was so absurd that no one would believe it was the staff's own idea. but it was the truth. You simply paid them on time and gave them some extra benefits, and they started this daily welcome ritual on their own. All right, everyone, dismiss. Go see the butler for a bonus. The servants bowed in unison. As soon as you entered the living room, a girl of about 17 or 18 rushed towards you. You instinctively put a hand on her head to stop her. Serafina, I've told you many times, don't ram me with your head. It hurts, you know? Serafina touched her own forehead, indicating that it didn't hurt her. Your mouth twitched as you reminded yourself not to argue with an idiot. This was Serafina, an orphan your parents adopted when you were 3 to be your companion. She couldn't speak at age 3, and everyone assumed it was a developmental delay. It wasn't until she was 7 that they realized she wasn't slow, she was mentally handicapped. Your parents wanted to send her back to the orphanage, but you insisted on keeping her. After raising her for 7 years, you'd grown attached, as one would to a pet, and besides, she followed you around calling you brother every day. Be good, Serafina. Your brother has work to do. Serafina blinked her innocent, wide eyes and held onto you tightly, refusing to let go. Mrs. Gable, come get her. The butler, having finished distributing the bonuses, came in and replied, Mr. Sterling, Mrs. Gable's daughter-in-law just had a baby. She resigned to go back home and help with her grandchild. You sighed internally. Mrs. Gable had worked here for over a decade and was the only one who could manage Serafina. With her gone, what were you going to do? You shook your head in resignation. Mr. Thompson, go change the gate code to the estate immediately. Also, pack up all of Chloe's things and have them sent back to the Mason's house right away. Mr. Thompson bowed and left to carry out your orders. 3 years. You could finally, justifiably, get rid of Chloe. It was a lie to say it didn't bother you, watching the woman who was supposed to be your fiancé dallying with another man day after day. But now, you were free and all your money would soon be back in your account. As you mulled this over, your eyelids grew heavy, and you drifted off to sleep right there on the sofa. Behind you, a glint of cunning flashed in Serafina's innocent eyes. I've been trapped in this book for 17 years. Do you have any idea what I've been through? I'm the author, the creator god of this world. But these damn world rules restrict my freedom and force me to act like an idiot. Thank goodness I have the system. Now that the plot is on track with Chloe running away, all I need is for my dense idiot of a brother to realize his mistake, sincerely win Chloe back, and I can complete the first story mission. Then I can collect the story's fortune, and finally break free from these restrictions and be normal again. Meanwhile, back at the wedding venue, the guests were growing impatient. Are they getting married or not? Who knows? It's been delayed for so long. Isn't our time valuable too? If it weren't for my respect for Mr. Sterling, I would have left ages ago. Seeing the guests murmuring amongst themselves, the head of the Mason family, Mark Mason, grew anxious. Catherine, you called him. What exactly did Ethan say? Catherine smiled faintly. It's fine. I've already told Ethan how to coax Chloe. Don't worry, they'll be back soon. Mark was still uneasy. Maybe you should call again just to be sure? Catherine hesitated for a moment before dialing your number. At the Sterling estate, Serafina simply tapped the reject button. Catherine lowered her phone. He hung up. Mark took out his own phone and called you, but it rang once and was disconnected. Do you think Ethan is actually angry? Catherine shook her head. That boy may have his faults, but his temper is impeccable. I've watched him grow up, and I've never seen anything make him truly angry. Ever since he was born, his emotions have been as stable as an adult's. Mark nodded. Still, Chloe went too far this time. You should call her and tell her to stop throwing a tantrum and come back with Ethan to get married. Catherine agreed and dialed Chloe's number. What is it, Mom? Hearing Chloe's voice, Catherine breathed a sigh of relief. Has Ethan come to get you? Today is your wedding day. Stop being difficult and come back with Ethan. Do you hear me? Chloe frowned. Has he started tattling to you now? I've already made things very clear to him, so could you please stop meddling in our affairs? And tell Ethan that this time, I'm really angry. With that, Chloe hung up. Leo asked cautiously, was that your mother? Chloe nodded. She said Ethan is already on his way to pick me up. A pained look crossed Leo's face. Then you should hurry back with Ethan. I can handle this on my own. Chloe shook her head. I said I'd wait with you for my godmother to come out. A godmother is still a mother. If I'm not here at a time like this, how could I ever show my face in New York again? Don't worry. When Ethan gets here, I'll have him wait with us. Leo's face lit up. Really? Ethan is willing to wait with us. Then his expression turned somber. But a man as brilliant as a star like him, why would he ever spare a glance for my mother and me? Chloe quickly reassured him. Don't worry, Ethan's not like that. He never looks down on anyone. He could befriend a homeless person on the street. Besides, my godmother is his godmother too. It's only right for him to stay and wait with us. You can be completely at ease. I'll handle everything. And I'll let you in on another secret. Ethan owns this private hospital. 3 years ago, when he found out about my godmother's condition, he set up a VIP room for her here. He's always been so generous and kind. After she recovers, I'll have Ethan take all of us on a round-the-world honeymoon trip. Leo feigned surprise. My mom and I can go too? Chloe nodded. Of course, you've never traveled the world, so this is the perfect opportunity. We're all family, and family should stick together, right? As she spoke, Chloe's expression grew a little sad. Ethan lost his parents when he was young and had to raise a disabled sister. His life has been very hard. After I marry into the Sterling family, I'll bring you and your mom to live with us. Then he'll have a brother and a mother to care for him too. Back in the living room of the Sterling estate, you were having a very strange dream. You felt as if you were floating in warm water, drifting endlessly. Beside you, there seemed to be another person, but you couldn't make out who it was or see their face, just floating along in a daze. Suddenly, a buzzing sound pulled you back to reality. You woke up feeling refreshed and invigorated. Looking down, you saw Serafina fast asleep on your chest, her drool soaking through your shirt. You smiled helplessly and answered the phone beside you. Get to the point. I need to take Serafina back to bed. The person on the other end was silent for 3 seconds. Sir, everything has been handled according to your instructions. By tomorrow, the news will explode across New York and likely the entire country. You nodded. I trust your work. Your bonus is doubled this month. Go collect it from finance immediately. The person on the phone was clearly surprised, as it wasn't payday. You smiled. Your wife is due in a few days, right? I'll arrange for her to be at my private hospital. I'll get you a premium private room. A sharp intake of breath came from the phone. Thank you, Mr. Sterling. From now on, my life is yours. You chuckled and hung up, then carried Serafina back to her room. A single night was enough for many things to develop. The next morning, you woke up and were immediately startled. Serafina, what are you doing? Get down from there. On the windowsill, Serafina pulled herself halfway back inside and turned to you, blinking her large, innocent eyes. Seeing her vacant expression, you breathed a sigh of relief. You silly girl, when will you ever learn? Am I really going to have to keep you locked up at home for the rest of your life? Serafina leaped from the windowsill directly onto the bed. You had no choice but to catch her. With a thud, she crashed headfirst into your chest, making you wince in pain. You felt utterly helpless. It had only been a day, and you were already missing Mrs. Gable. After washing up, you quickly left the house. At the Sterling Corp headquarters, in the CEO's office, you opened the news app, and as expected, the top trending topic was explosive. New York's richest man jilted at the altar. From number 1 to number 10, the trending list was filled with stories about New York's wealthiest bachelor being left at the altar and cheated on. You could barely suppress a smile. Just then, your former father-in-law, Mark Mason, called. You switched from the news app to answer. Ethan, what's going on with the news? Didn't you suppress the story? You laughed. Why would I suppress it? Mark was stunned. This is a matter of the Sterling family's honor. You can still get the posts taken down if you act now. Why would I want them taken down? Mark was stunned again. Don't you care about the Sterling family's reputation at all? You feigned realization. Oh, so you're worried about my family's reputation. You can rest easy on that front. Reputations are just what people say, good or bad, and I've never cared. As for your Mason family, you should be thinking about how you're going to give me a satisfactory explanation. Mark was confused. What explanation do we Masons owe you? You're the one who didn't bring Chloe back. How can you blame us? You were flabbergasted, truly unable to comprehend the bizarre logic of the Mason family. Mark, do you even hear yourself? It was your daughter, Chloe Mason, who ran off with another man, and now you're blaming me. Mark immediately retorted. Chloe has been engaged to you since childhood. She was practically a Sterling already. From the moment she moved into your house, she was no longer our responsibility. It's your fault you couldn't keep an eye on her. How can you blame the Masons? You were utterly shocked. So that was their line of thinking. In that case, you had misunderstood them. They weren't stupid. They were clever. They had long considered Chloe a Sterling asset. They were only interested in the benefits, not in Chloe's well-being. You were the abnormal one for treating a powerful family like them as ordinary people. To them, Chloe was just a commodity sold to the Sterlings before she was even born. Once you understood, you felt a sense of relief. If you don't consider Chloe a Mason, that's even better. Gather up everything I've given her over the years. I'll be over to pick it up personally. Mark wanted to say more, but you had already hung up. What's gotten into Ethan? It's like he's a completely different person. Catherine, standing nearby, looked worried. With all these rumors flying around, I'm afraid Ethan might do something drastic. Should we call Chloe back? Just as Mark was about to speak, his phone vibrated. He answered to an anxious voice on the other end. Mr. Mason, it's terrible. Sterling Corp unilaterally pulled its $10 billion investment from our new development project this morning. Our stock has plummeted, and our market value has dropped by over $1 billion. Mr. Mason, you have to do something. Mark's hand trembled, and his phone fell to the floor. Catherine, call Chloe now and tell her to get her ass back here immediately. I'm going to prepare some expensive gifts and personally apologize to Ethan. Also, announce to the public that the Mason family will be holding a new wedding for them. This time, we'll chain them together if we have to, but they will get married. Catherine, having overheard the news of their impending bankruptcy, was terrified and immediately dialed Chloe's number. In a premium room at the private hospital, Chloe answered, sounding annoyed. Mom, why are you calling again? Did Ethan go to you? Tell him I'll be back soon. Catherine shrieked. I don't care where you are. You have 30 minutes to get back to the Mason house, or I'll disown you. Chloe frowned. Did Ethan threaten you? Catherine hesitated. Yes, Sterling Corp has pulled all its funding and stopped all cooperation with us. The Mason family is on the verge of bankruptcy. Your father said you need to come back immediately so we can hold another wedding for you and Ethan. It's the only way to resolve this crisis. Chloe was stunned. She never thought Ethan would become so petty, resorting to such despicable tactics just to get her to marry him. But then again, it must be because he loved her so much. She glanced at the unconscious woman in the bed and sighed. Don't worry, Mom. I'll call Ethan right now and explain. I'm sure he'll stop this little prank. At the entrance of the Sterling Corp headquarters, you had just gotten into your car when the phone rang. Seeing it was Chloe, you shook your head and chuckled. She must be scared by your actions and calling to apologize. But it was too late and had been for 3 years. If not for the elaborate plan to reclaim everything you'd given away, you wouldn't have dragged it out this long. You were wealthy, but this was several $billions. Every penny you'd earned since taking over the business at 10 was your own blood, sweat, and tears, and no one was going to take it from you for free. You answered and said directly, you must have gotten the news by now. I'm on my way to the Mason's house. We can talk when I see you there. It was best for her to be present when you reclaimed your assets, so the accounting would be clear and undisputed. Chloe thought to herself that her mother's call and Ethan's trip to her family's house were perfectly timed. This was all just a little game Ethan was playing. Still, she had promised Leo she would wait for his mother to wake up. Ethan would surely be happy to hear about the new wedding plans, right? He probably wouldn't mind if she waited a little longer. All right, you go on ahead. I should be back a little later. Wait for me at my family's house. I admit I was wrong this time, so don't be angry. I'll make it up to you when I get home. You were taken aback. You were going to the Masons for a final settlement. If Chloe wasn't there, some things would be harder to reclaim. But it didn't matter. You'd get the major assets today, and the legal department could pursue the rest. You would get every penny back. Fine, you do what you need to do. We'll talk when we get a chance. You hung up. Chris, is everything I asked you to prepare yesterday ready? Your assistant in the front seat patted his briefcase. Rest assured, Mr. Sterling. I have all the documents. I guarantee you'll get back what's yours today. I've always trusted your work. I've already made arrangements at the hospital. You can have your wife admitted now. They have the best nurses, so she'll be well cared for, and you can focus on work without worrying. Chris nodded, moved. Thank you, sir. I'll arrange for her to be taken there right away. 30 minutes later, the car pulled up to the Mason estate. You got out, followed by a line of burly bodyguards, all over 6 feet tall and built like tanks. It was always better to bring extra security to avoid unnecessary trouble. The Mason's servants recognized you, of course, and opened the gates from a distance. Quick, inform the master. The young master-in-law is here. You walked through the estate and into the living room, where Mark and Catherine Mason were waiting with their young son, Miles. Ethan, I was just about to come looking for you. I had Catherine call Chloe home. She should be here any minute. Your heart skipped a beat. My mother is here? Tell her to come out and see me. I want to ask her why she left without a word 5 years ago. And that old man must be back too, right? Tell him to come out. I want to fight him. Mark laughed awkwardly. You misunderstood. Not your mother, Catherine. A mother-in-law is a mother too, isn't she? You frowned. Since when is Catherine my mother-in-law? Don't spout nonsense. I'm not your son-in-law. Catherine came forward and took your hand. I know you're still angry about yesterday, but it's bound to happen sooner or later. Whether you call me Mom now or later, I'm fine with it. A shiver ran down your spine, and you immediately pulled your hand away. We'll talk about that later. You've all received the news that Sterling Corp has pulled its investments and severed all ties. Correct. Miles, the young son, piped up. My sister said to stop playing these pranks, or she'll really ignore you. You turned to Chris. He called it a prank. Did you only threaten them verbally? Chris shook his head. I am absolutely certain that our funds have been returned to the company's accounts, and we have issued a public notice terminating all cooperation with the Mason family. You can check for yourself if you don't believe me. You quickly checked on your phone and breathed a sigh of relief. Miles, don't interrupt when adults are talking. By the way, your sister bought you quite a few nice things with my card over the years, didn't she? You'd better check your allowance and see if you have enough to pay me back. Don't come crying to me when you can't afford it. Miles tilted his head and glanced at you. How can you ask for a gift back? You patted his head. You once gave me 2 pieces of candy which I ate, and later you asked for them back, didn't you? Why can't I ask for my things back? Besides, your sister bought them for you with my money without my permission. It's only right that I take them back, isn't it? Miles froze for a second. You're not getting my stuff back. He then ran off. Mark laughed. Ethan, don't tease him. If he actually goes crying to Chloe, you'll have a hard time calming her down. Your mouth twitched. Mr. Mason, you don't actually think I'm joking, do you? Mark smiled. Kids say the darndest things. We're not children anymore. There's no need to get upset over a child's words and make ourselves a laughingstock. You waved your hand in resignation, and Chris pulled a stack of documents from his briefcase. Mr. Mason, this is a detailed list of Miss Mason's expenditures over the years. Every transaction is clearly recorded. Please review it and settle the bill. Mark took the list, flipped to the last page, and his hand trembled so much that the papers fell to the floor. $30 million? How is that possible? Chloe has only been living at your house for less than 5 years. We give her a $10,000 monthly allowance that she never even finishes. How could she possibly spend $30 million of your money? You smiled. She was always spending my money, so of course she didn't need yours. The first couple of years weren't much, but the bulk of it came later. Mr. Mason, I bet you didn't know your daughter was taking her pretty boy godbrother on lavish trips, buying him luxury watches and cars with my card. She spent 100 times more on him than on her actual brother, Miles. Stop staring and pay up. It'll save me the trouble of suing you. Mark shook his head. Impossible. You gave Chloe that money willingly. How can you ask for it back? You scratched your head. When did I ever say it was willing? When I gave Chloe the supplementary card, the contract clearly stated that all expenses were a temporary loan to her. If she had legally married me, the debt would have been absorbed as a shared marital liability. The problem is, she ran away. So, the full amount is still her personal debt. Mark suddenly looked relieved. Chloe spent that money, so why should the Mason family pay it back? At most, we'll only repay the portion that was spent on us. You were momentarily stunned, realizing just how foolish Mark truly was. No wonder Mason Industries had been floundering for years, even with your support. It doesn't matter if you don't pay. I'll have my legal team sue Chloe and freeze her assets. Since she has inheritance rights to the Mason family, she can just liquidate some of your company's assets to cover the debt. Mark gritted his teeth. Liquidating assets was the worst possible way to raise funds. I'll give you the $30 million. You immediately produced a card. Please transfer the full amount to this account. I'll clear the record as soon as I receive it. You have 30 minutes. Compared to cash, I'm much more interested in your family's company. Mark took the card with a trembling hand and made the transfer on his phone. A few minutes later, you received a notification that the funds had arrived. A smile returned to your face. The Masons are certainly wealthy. Now let's continue our accounting. For the engagement, your family received a betrothal gift of $300 million from me. Shouldn't that be returned as well? Catherine, I believe you were the one who received that money, right? It's been 5 years. I wonder if you've spent it. Catherine's face changed. We agreed back then that the money was non-refundable. How can you ask for it back now? Have you no shame? You gestured to Chris, who immediately produced a contract. Mrs. Mason, please look closely. The agreement states in black and white that this $300 million was a betrothal gift from our CEO to his future wife, to be held in trust by the bride's mother and transferred to Miss Mason's personal assets only after the marriage. Since Miss Mason unilaterally broke the contract by fleeing the wedding, the money remains our CEO's personal property, and we have the right to reclaim it. Failure to return it constitutes fraud, and we can liquidate the custodian's assets. Mason Industries is the joint property of you and Mr. Mason, so we can liquidate your shared assets. Catherine trembled with fear. But I don't have $300 million right now. I've already invested it all in Mason Industries. You smiled. That's perfect. When we reclaim the money, we can also collect all the profits it has generated over the years. You're such a good person, Catherine, starting to invest and make money for me 5 years in advance. Once I get the money back, I'll be sure to treat you to dinner. Catherine paused, then a thought struck her. If you and Chloe get married, does this money not have to be returned? You nodded. Theoretically, yes. After the wedding, the money would become Chloe's personal property to do with as she pleases. Unfortunately, she broke the contract herself, so I'm afraid that's no longer an option. Catherine clung to this idea like a lifeline. But you can still get married, can't you? This time, the Mason family will host a new wedding for you and Chloe. We can do it today, right now. You shook your head. When did I ever say I wanted another wedding? Catherine was taken aback. Chloe said so. She said she'd hold another wedding for you when she came back. Don't you want to marry her anymore? You nodded calmly. Actually, I haven't wanted to marry her for 3 years now. If it weren't for the pre-existing engagement, I wouldn't have waited this long. But your childhood sweethearts, practically inseparable. After 20 years together, how can you just decide not to marry her? You smiled faintly. You'll have to ask your dear daughter about that. It's not that I won't marry her, it's that she won't marry me. Our relationship fell apart 3 years ago. She's in love with Leo. We grew up together, so I didn't make things difficult for her. I chose to let her go. I think I've been more than generous. Now I just want my money back. So, Catherine, please return the money. I don't want to completely burn this bridge. You were my mother's best friend. Catherine looked as if she'd been struck by lightning. She couldn't catch her breath and fainted. You frowned, and Chris immediately notified the legal department to begin liquidating Catherine's assets. Remember to include the investment profits from all these years. That should be at least a few $100 million, enough for the entire company's year-end bonuses. Chris nodded. The legal team was already prepared and just waiting for the signal. Soon, Mark Mason received a notification. The countdown to the Mason family's bankruptcy liquidation had begun. You let out a long breath and waved to the bodyguards behind you. You should all have a copy of the inventory list. Please go and retrieve every gift I've given the Masons over the years. If you can carry it, take it. If not, get more men. If it's too heavy, call for a crane. In short, I want everything back. The bodyguards shouted in unison, "Rest assured, sir, we'll get it done." Instantly, the group of large men swarmed the Mason residence and began moving things. Expensive furniture, antique vases, and valuable paintings were carried out one by one to the trucks waiting outside, the men working with feverish efficiency. You watched with a sense of shock, not realizing you had given the Masons so much. But in the years before Chloe's heart changed, you truly had been grooming her to be your wife. Having lived 2 lives, you always believed that a love you nurtured yourself would be deeper and more reliable. Chloe was adorable as a child and grew into a stunning beauty, and you had done everything in your power to spoil your future bride. Until 3 years ago when Chloe fell for Leo. That's when you understood that her feelings for you were more like those for a brother or a father. You were heartbroken at the time, but having lived 2 lives, you quickly recovered. The flower may have been picked, but you had to get the pot back along with the rich soil. All of it was yours. Mark looked at his rapidly emptying house and was on the verge of a breakdown. "Ethan, our families have known each other for generations. Why are you being so ruthless?" You gestured to Chris, who understood and immediately pulled a deed from his bag. "Mr. Mason, you should remember this deed. It's for the plot of land my CEO's father gifted to the Mason family when the childhood engagement was arranged. Now that the engagement is broken, we are reclaiming the rights to this land. In 3 days, this property will be auctioned off. Please handle your affairs and vacate the estate within that time." Hearing this, Mark's legs gave out, and he collapsed to the floor. You are so cruel. You're trying to destroy my family." You smiled. "Mr. Mason, that's a bit harsh, isn't it? I'm just taking back what's mine. How is that destroying you?" Mark became overly emotional, his eyes rolled back, and he fainted as well. Chris went to check on him. "Sir, he just fainted from the shock. His breathing and heartbeat are normal. He'll wake up soon." You waved your hand. "Ignore them. Keep moving." An hour later, most of the items had been moved. You waved your hand. "Everyone worked hard today. Go to finance and collect triple pay for today's work." The bodyguards said in unison, "Thank you, sir." You then led the group away from the Mason estate. As soon as you got in the car, Chris received a message on his phone. "Sir, my wife's in labor." "Then what are you waiting for? Get to the hospital. I'll drive you." Chris said gratefully, "Thank you, sir. I'll never forget your kindness." "Don't worry about it. It's a small thing. When the baby is a month old, just buy me a drink." The car quickly arrived at the Sterling-owned private hospital. Chris jumped out and ran inside. You shook your head, then got out as well, bought some baby supplies at a nearby store, and went in. Even though you were only 20, you had been raising a disabled girl and a future wife since you were a child, acting as both father and mother, and had long since mastered the skills of a parent. Outside the delivery room, Chris was pacing anxiously, sweating profusely. When he saw you arrive with a pile of things, he was overcome with emotion. They say a man doesn't cry easily, but that's only because they haven't found the right boss. Since becoming your assistant, he had never been wronged once. Working for a boss like you was a blessing for any workhorse. "Sir, why don't you be my child's father?" You froze, then said angrily, "Are you insane? Are you brazenly asking me to raise another man's child? I can't believe I never saw this side of you before." Chris quickly explained, "I was just so anxious. I misspoke. I meant I want my child to have you as a godfather." You breathed a sigh of relief. "A godfather I can do. That's fine." "Ethan." Suddenly, a surprised voice came from behind you. You turned to see Chloe, still in her wedding dress, with her beloved godbrother Leo standing beside her. "Did you come all this way just to see me and my godmother?" Chloe asked as she walked over. You held up your hands, gesturing to the 2 large bags of baby supplies. "Which eye of yours sees me here for your godmother? I'm clearly here to see my godson, or possibly goddaughter. Don't try to associate with me." Chloe noticed the items in your hands. "Oh, so Chris's wife is giving birth here. I should still have time to go buy a gift." "Please don't trouble yourself, Miss Mason. You should go back to taking care of your godmother." Chloe smiled. "It's no trouble. If your child has Ethan as a godfather, then I'm the godmother. It's only right that I buy a gift for my own godchild." Chris chuckled. "Miss Mason, haven't you seen the news? The story of you fleeing your wedding is all over the country. My child's godmother can only be the CEO's wife, and you." Seeing Chris's mocking smile, Chloe immediately opened her phone and was instantly flooded with countless online comments. News had broken that she frequently visited entertainment venues, hotels, and bars with other men, and a video of her fleeing the wedding had gone viral. The entire internet was attacking her with curses and parody videos on TikTok. Chloe stared for a moment before her phone slipped from her hand and clattered to the floor. "It's not like that. I didn't cheat. I didn't betray you. You know that. I explained it to you every single time." You nodded, and a flicker of joy appeared in Chloe's eyes. She stepped forward and grabbed your hand. "As long as you believe me, that's all that matters. Let's go back and finish the wedding right now. I'll issue a statement and clear everything up. I won't let anyone say you were cheated on." You shook off her hand and smiled. "You and I have no relationship, so who you hang out with is your business. Certainly not cheating. As for the online comments, just treat them as a joke. They'll be forgotten in a few days. I've already canceled our engagement. Let's not bring up the past." Go and bravely pursue your love. No need to thank me. I sincerely wish you both the best. Oh, and I forgot to remind you, your godmother's hospital bill is due. It's about $1 million for the past 3 years plus surgeries, so no more than $1.5 million total. My hospital is very fair. We never overcharge. Chloe's eyes widened. What did you say? You're breaking off the engagement with me? You frowned. What do you mean, I'm breaking it off? You're the one who ran away, unilaterally violating the agreement. Stop trying to pin everything on me. I think the most important thing for you to do right now is to pay your godmother's hospital bill. If the money isn't paid by tomorrow at the latest, my legal department will have to sue Leo. Chloe was still in shock, unable to process what was happening. Leo, however, grew anxious. Ethan, why are you suing me? Didn't you arrange this premium room for my mom specifically? You nodded. That's right, I did arrange it for her. But I never said it was free. Leo felt his world collapse. When they transferred here, Chloe had only said she arranged it, never mentioning any fees. The cost of a private hospital was far beyond what he could afford. Chloe, you never told me it would cost money. What are we going to do now? Chloe finally snapped out of her daze. It's only $1 million or so. What are you so worried about? Ethan isn't that petty. With that, she took your hand again. Can we stop this nonsense? I promise I'll go back and marry you right now. As for my godmother's medical bills, just waive them. It's a drop in the bucket for you anyway. Consider it my compensation for breaking my promise to stay with her until she was out of danger. Your head buzzed. You felt like your ears must be broken. Otherwise, how could you be hearing such illogical, shameless words? First, our engagement is cancelled. We are not getting married. Second, she is your godmother, not mine. I have no obligation to pay for the promises you make to other people. You shook her hand off again, looking at the girl you had raised, now so utterly changed. A dull ache spread through your chest. It wasn't the pain of her leaving you, but the pain of seeing over a decade of your effort result in this. When you pushed her away again, Chloe's eyes instantly turned red. I've already agreed to go back with you. I've already humbled myself. What more do you want from me before you'll stop? Seeing the confrontation, Leo stepped between you. Ethan, I know you're angry that Chloe left you to come see my mom at the hospital. I can apologize to you. Just please, stop provoking her with these words. You shrugged. I'm not angry, and I'm not just saying things out of spite. Instead of wasting time talking to me, you should be thinking about how you're going to pay that bill. Chloe pulled Leo aside. Ethan, Leo has already begged you so humbly. Can't you let it go? Now I'm really angry. I'm never speaking to you again. Leo cursed inwardly. Idiot. Now is not the time to be stubborn. Where are we going to get that kind of money? Chloe, don't be mad at Ethan. He's only doing all this because he loves you so much. Just apologize to him. He won't hold it against you. Chloe was furious now. She shot you a venomous glare, grabbed Leo, and turned to leave. You don't have to plead for him. It's just $1 million medical bill, right? I'll pay it for my godmother. I won't let you or her be bullied by him. Watching them walk away hand in hand, you shook your head. I raised 2 girls. One's a psycho, the other's an idiot. Chris, do you think I'm just cursed when it comes to kids? Maybe we should forget about the godfather thing. I don't want to jinx your child. Chris laughed. You're joking, sir. Miss Serafina was abandoned because of her developmental issues. You kindly took her in. How could that be your fault? As for Miss Mason, she's not crazy. She's just delusional, taking advantage of your affection. I would be honored for my child to have you as a godfather. Maybe some of your luck and success will rub off, and my child could grow up to be as exceptional as you. You scratched your head. Am I really that great? Chris nodded firmly. You are the most outstanding and brilliant person I have ever met. Across the entire country, you could count on one hand the number of people who have achieved what you have at your age. You waved it off. Oh, come on, I just got a little lucky. It wasn't false modesty. In your past life, you were just a small business owner. Even being reborn with your memories didn't make you a genius. The truth was, making money in this world was just too easy. If you brought over the real geniuses from your previous world, they would have become the richest in the country or even the world by now. This world had a perfectly good system, but most people just didn't know how to use it. To put it bluntly, the general intelligence level here was not very high. Family of the patient? A nurse called out. Natural birth, a girl, 6 pounds, 2 ounces. Mother and daughter are both healthy. Chris rushed forward excitedly, but when he saw the wrinkled little baby, his knees went weak. You stepped up and took the baby. What are you standing there for? Go wheel your wife back to her room. Chris snapped out of it and rushed into the delivery room. Good news lifts the spirits. You were happy to have a new goddaughter and immediately arranged for the highest level VIP room. As you passed one of the other VIP rooms, Chloe burst out. You instinctively shielded the baby in your arms, twisting your body and sending Chloe stumbling to the side. Chloe, are you crazy? Didn't you see I was holding a baby? If you had scared my goddaughter, I would never have forgiven you. With that, you quickly carried the baby into the adjacent room. Chloe sat on the floor, her eyes filled with disbelief. He actually pushed me? Why? Leo hurried out of the room and helped her up. Ethan probably didn't mean to. Don't be angry with him. Chloe shook her head. For 3 years, you've made too many excuses for him. I don't want to hear it anymore. let's go pay the bill first. We can't let them stop my godmother's medication. Leo nodded and they went to the billing office. A moment later, the clerk handed back a black and gold supplementary card. Ma'am, this card has been canceled. Chloe's eyes widened. How is that possible? I've been using this card for 5 years. Why would it be canceled? It must have been Ethan. I'm going to go ask him what's going on. Trailing her wedding dress, Chloe ran back to the room you had entered. Before she could push the door open, you came out. Chloe, what are you doing standing here? There's a new mother and a baby inside. If you're going to cause a scene, please do it somewhere else. Chloe bit her lip and pulled you into the adjacent room. Seeing the woman in the bed, you smiled. So this is Leo's mother? Your godmother? No, that's not right. She must be your future mother-in-law. Godmother and mother-in-law, what a close bond. You'll be very happy. Chloe glared. She is only my godmother and will never be my mother-in-law. The only person I'm going to marry is you. You couldn't follow her logic at all. What on earth are you talking about? Suddenly, it dawned on you. I get it. Is Leo's wife refusing to grant a divorce? Don't worry about that. I had it investigated. They're not even of legal age. Their marriage was just a local ceremony back home. In a couple of years, when he's old enough, you can just go get a marriage license and you'll be legally wed. Chloe's brow furrowed. You're saying Leo is already married back home? You were surprised. You've been together for 3 years, and he hasn't told you? It's easy to verify. Just ask anyone in his hometown. He was the only one from his village to get into NYU. The whole town was trying to set him up. His tuition was even paid for with the gift money from his wedding reception. Chloe was stunned for a moment, then shook her head. Never mind that for now. I just want to know why you canceled my card. You promised I could use it freely. What is this supposed to mean? Are you trying to force me to submit? Fine, you win. I submit. I'm begging you. Can we please stop this? Reinstate my card, pay my godmother's medical bills, and we'll go home and get married immediately. A nerve in your temple throbbed. Chloe, what are you talking about? I did promise you could use that family card freely, but do you understand what family means? Before, you were my fiancé, so you counted as future family. Now, you're nothing to me. Is there a problem with me revoking your card privileges? If you still want one, you can ask your brother Leo for his. He's your future husband. It's perfectly normal for you to spend his money, understand? Chloe's eyes widened in disbelief. Ethan, what nonsense are you spouting? He's just a godbrother I took under my wing. How could he possibly be my future husband? I've explained it to you countless times. I only love you and I will only marry you. Why won't you ever believe me? You sighed, pinching the bridge of your nose. So you're saying you were just playing around with Leo, but it's true love with me? Chloe nodded, then quickly shook her head. You and I are true love. I was never playing around with Leo. You laughed. Let me do the math for you. In the past 3 years, you and Leo have traveled to over 70 tourist destinations, booked over 340 hotel rooms, and had more than 800 meals together. You bought him houses, cars, luxury watches, and all sorts of designer clothes. You two have been practically inseparable for 3 years, and now you're telling me you weren't playing around with him? Is he not capable? Chloe shook her head in panic. It's not what you think. I can explain. Will you please just listen to my explanation? You nodded, pulled up a visitor's chair, and sat down. Please, begin your performance. I'm curious to see how you'll explain this. Chloe took a deep breath. All those places we went, it was all for you. Leo said those places had spiritual energy, and everywhere I went, I was praying for your good fortune. Your eyes widened, nearly popping out of your head. And the hundreds of hotel rooms? Don't tell me you were praying for me to have a child? I must be the luckiest man alive. Chloe immediately denied it. It's not what you think. We always got rooms with 2 beds. Nothing ever happened between us. You suddenly sat up straight. So, you're saying Leo can't perform? Chloe said angrily. Can you stop with these malicious assumptions? We have always had a purely platonic, brother-sister relationship. You smiled indifferently. All right, I believe you're very pure. Please, continue your performance. Chloe's eyes reddened. You still don't believe me. What do I have to do to prove it to you? Is my belief that important? Just tell your story. When it gets to the good parts, I'll even applaud. Fine, I'll continue. Leo and I were classmates at the same university, and we have a brother-sister bond. His family is poor, and he was trying to save money for his mother's medical treatments. I felt sorry for him, so I treated him to meals every day. Is there anything wrong with that? You nodded. You're very compassionate, of course there's nothing wrong with that. But why didn't you use your own money to treat him? You used my card every day, using my money to display your charity, my money to buy him mansions and luxury cars, my money to let him live in luxury. Do you think my money grows on trees? I earned it penny by penny, working until dawn, drinking with clients until I threw up. He's poor, you pity him, but why don't you pity me? We grew up together, but I've never seen you buy me a watch, or a car, or even a toy. It's not like you couldn't afford it. Chloe shook her head. It's not like that, you've misunderstood. I didn't give him those things, he borrowed them from me. He said he would pay it all back. I figured you had so much money I could just lend it to him, and he could pay you back later when he started earning. He even said he'd pay interest. You narrowed your eyes. You lent it to him? Where are the loan agreements? Let me see them. Chloe's gaze shifted. We're all family. Why would we need a formal agreement? I'm sure he'll pay it back. You tapped the table. Pay it back with what? It's over $20 million. How could he possibly repay that? Chloe thought for a moment. You could lend him a little more money to start a business. He'd be able to pay it back quickly then. You suddenly laughed. Chloe, you never cease to amaze me. But I have work to do at the office, so I can't chat with you any longer. Chloe grabbed your arm. You can't leave. You still have to come home and marry me. Your eye twitched. You truly couldn't comprehend how Chloe's mind worked. Had you really spoiled her so much over the years that she'd become a complete moron? Chloe, get this straight. Our wedding is over. Our engagement is over. Do you understand? Chloe's lip quivered, and her voice broke. So what if I was wrong? I'm apologizing to you. I'm sorry. I was too selfish. Please, can you forgive me just this once? We can go home and get married right away. I promise I won't run away again. You shook her hand off once more. I've already told you, our engagement is canceled. The moment you ran from the wedding, it was over. Chloe shook her head. Even without an engagement, we can still get married. We just need to set a new date, right? Why are you so hung up on the old engagement? You scratched your head, thinking she actually had a point. Ordinary people didn't need to worry about such formalities. Seeing you pause to think, Chloe felt a surge of hope and decided to press her advantage. And even if the engagement is canceled, our marriage was arranged at birth. Your mother promised it 20 years ago, and your family already gave the betrothal gift. That's an unchangeable fact. You suddenly laughed. I've already been to your house and taken back the betrothal gift, so that arranged at birth argument doesn't hold up anymore. Chloe was shocked. What did you say? You took back the deed to the Mason estate too? If you take back the land, what will happen to my parents and my brother? Where will they live? You shrugged. What does that have to do with me? There are houses for sale and apartments for rent all over New York. How hard can it be to find a place to live? Chloe looked at you with innocent eyes. Are you really going to be this cruel? Aren't you afraid I'll actually leave you? You shook your head calmly. The one who should be afraid has never been me. It's you and the Mason family. Your godmother is awake. You should go take care of her. With that, you turned and opened the door, where Leo was standing with a smile on his face. She's your responsibility now. I hope you can treat her like a delicate flower. Of course, more importantly, pay the bill soon. I sincerely hope your mother makes a full recovery. You then walked away. Today was a day of double blessings for you. Not only did you get your money back, but you also gained a goddaughter. You'd have to find a good name for her, one that wouldn't clash with yours. You knew you couldn't spoil this little girl. If she turned out like Chloe, it would be a complete disaster. In the hospital room, Chloe went to the bedside and bowed. Godmother, I'm sorry. I promised Ethan that as soon as you woke up, I would go back and marry him. I have to go now, but I'll come back to see you when I have time. Leo walked in, a bitter expression on his face. Thank you, but if you leave, what about my mom's medical bills? Chloe smiled. Don't worry. My family is busy preparing a new wedding for me and Ethan. Once I go back, get married, and get the money, I'll transfer the funds for the medical bills to you immediately. Leo's face filled with hope. Thank you, Chloe. I'll consider this a loan, and I'll definitely pay you back in the future. Chloe patted his shoulder. I believe in you. You can do it. With that, she gathered her wedding dress and hurried out of the hospital. But when she reached the entrance, she found you were long gone. Since the Masons were already preparing a new wedding, she assumed you must have gone to their house. At the gate of the Mason estate, Chloe got out of the taxi. The usually bustling estate was eerily quiet. Normally, a servant would greet her at the door, but today, there was no one. Could it be that they're all busy preparing the new wedding for me and Ethan? That must be it. A light instantly returned to Chloe's gloomy face, and she lifted her dress and ran into the estate. But when she reached the front of the house, she froze. There were no servants, no wedding decorations, nothing. Dad? Mom? Miles? Where did you all go? Chloe rushed into the house and saw the empty rooms, a wave of desolation washing over her. Where's my large fish tank? And the 2 koi fish Ethan and I raised together? And the camellias we planted? Why is everything gone? Who took my things? Chloe hurried into the living room, where her entire family was sitting, their faces ashen. Mark's voice was ice cold. So you finally decided to come back. Chloe frowned slightly. What happened? Why is the house so empty? Why are all of my and Ethan's things gone? Shut your mouth, Mark roared. How dare you even ask? How dare you run away from Ethan's wedding? Who gave you the nerve? Do you have any idea who he is? You've known him for 20 years. Don't you know how ruthless he can be? Chloe stumbled back 2 steps, her face filled with terror. Are you saying Ethan did all this? I don't believe it. You must be lying to me. We've been together for 20 years. I know him better than any of you. He's not a petty person. No matter what mistake I made, he would never blame me, let alone retaliate. Catherine pressed a hand to her forehead. It doesn't matter if you don't believe it. It's the truth. He not only took back all the things he ever gave us, but he also reclaimed everything you bought with his money, even your betrothal gift and the land his father gave us. The Mason family is bankrupt. We have nothing left. As she spoke, Catherine grew dizzy again and leaned back in her chair, gasping for breath. Chloe's face was a mask of disbelief. No, you must be mistaken. He wouldn't do this to me. He never got angry before, no matter what I did. I'm going to find him right now and ask him what's going on. She turned and bolted out of the estate. An hour later, at the gate of the Sterling estate. Incorrect password. Please try again. Fingerprint recognition failed. Facial recognition failed. Alert. Intrusion detected. Chloe tried every method she knew, but she couldn't open the gate. Your Sterling Corp was a leader in smart technology development, and this lock alone was far ahead of the competition. When the alarm triggered, Chloe quickly stepped back. She knew an electric shock would follow. Mr. Thompson, are you there? It's me, the lady of the house. Can you open the gate for me? Inside the estate, Mr. Thompson had heard her, but the young master had given strict orders not to let Chloe in, and he dared not disobey. Miss Mason, you should leave. The master said that no outsiders are allowed to set foot on the estate without his permission. An idea struck Chloe. Serafina, it's your sister-in-law, Chloe. Can you come open the gate for me? Serafina, who was walking the fish by the pond, looked up in surprise. And then my paranoid brother is supposed to realize his mistake, repent, and pursue her relentlessly? Did I remember it wrong? But this is the plot I wrote. How could I forget? 20 years of being childhood sweethearts, overcoming trials and tribulations to finally be together. What a perfect ending. It's just that this Chloe has been picking on me since we were kids. I never realized the heroine I wrote was so annoying. Sigh, my poor, foolish brother. Chloe shouted outside the gate for a long time until her voice was hoarse, but no one came to open it. She figured you must be at the office at this hour. Lifting her wedding dress, she ran to the road, hailed a taxi, and headed for Sterling Corporation. The receptionist at Sterling Corp gasped, and several security guards rushed in. They froze when they saw the woman in the wedding dress. This was a tricky situation. One wrong move and they could be facing a lawsuit. Chloe waved her hands, explaining, I really am your CEO's wife. I'm here today to marry him. Just let me through, and after we're married, I'll be sure to reward you all handsomely. The guards exchanged uncertain glances. Seizing their moment of hesitation, Chloe snatched the access card from the reception desk and bolted. After swiping through the turnstile, she didn't dare wait for the elevator and ran for the stairwell. The CEO's office was on the 28th floor. By the time she finally made it, 2 guards were already waiting for her at the stairwell door. Please just let me see him, okay? I have something really urgent to talk to him about. Chloe started to cry. She had never imagined that seeing Ethan would one day be so difficult. Before, all it took was a single call or an iMessage, and he would appear before her. Now, when she called, he said he was busy. Her messages went unread. Everything was fine yesterday, but today, it had all changed. The 2 guards looked at each other and, taking pity on her, stepped aside. She had climbed 28 floors. Her beautiful wedding dress was now in tatters, and her makeup was a smeared, pixelated mess. Sterling Corp's motto was people first. They figured the CEO, being such a good person, wouldn't blame them for letting her pass. Chloe bowed to the 2 guards and ran barefoot towards the CEO's office. Ethan was reviewing a document when a pixelated blur burst through the door, startling him. What in the world? Wait, who are you? What are you doing here? Chloe grabbed a piece of her dress and wiped her face vigorously. Ethan stared for a moment. Chloe? What the hell? Why do you look like such a mess? Chloe looked at Ethan with a face full of grievance, tears streaming down her cheeks. They wouldn't let me see you. Sob. So many bad people, they wouldn't let me see you. Ethan frowned. If they wouldn't let you up, couldn't you have waited downstairs? Am I on my deathbed with only a few meetings left? We're friends, but this is making things awkward for me. Chloe shook her head, tears falling freely. No, I don't want to be your friend. I want to be your wife. Let's get married. This time, no matter what happens, I will never leave you again. Ethan waved his hand. Let the past be the past. There's no need to bring it up again. Besides, I've already taken everything back, so it's not appropriate to talk about this anymore. We've been friends for 20 years. You should know what kind of person I am. Chloe, exhausted from climbing so many stairs, collapsed onto the floor. I don't understand why it's come to this. Is it just because I ran away from the wedding once? I don't believe you would abandon me over something so small. Ethan nodded. You're right. It's not just because you ran away. Chloe gave a bitter smile. I want to know why. Is it because of Leo? But nothing ever happened between us. I'm willing to undergo any examination. Ethan stood up, walked over to Chloe, and helped her onto the sofa. Actually, I do believe nothing happened between you two. If I wanted to get rid of Leo, it would be as easy as sneezing. He's still around because I know that if it wasn't him, there would be a second, and a third. You might not have betrayed me with the first one, but can you guarantee you wouldn't with the second, or the third? In a way, it's my fault. I protected you too much growing up, suppressing your curiosity for too long. The day you felt you could fly, you started to test my limits. From the first time you brought Leo home, the first time you tried to defy my instructions, I knew I had made a terrible mistake. After that, I stopped trying to control you, and you didn't disappoint, becoming more and more brazen. Until yesterday, when you even dared to run from our wedding. You didn't run away for your so-called godmother. You were just enjoying the thrill of defying me. When I finally gave up on you, you lost your imaginary enemy and felt empty, which is why you're now so desperate to come back. Chloe's expression changed drastically, and she shook her head frantically. It's not like that. I never saw you as an enemy. From the moment I was old enough to understand, I knew you were the one. I even told you I would marry you when I grew up. I naively believed nothing could ever tear us apart. I overestimated your patience and underestimated your resolve. I know I was wrong. I'm so scared of losing you. Can you please give me one more chance? From now on, I'll listen to you. I'll put you at the center of everything, and you'll be the only one for me. Ethan smiled and handed her a tissue from the desk. Have you thought about what role you would play in my life in the future? You don't actually think you can still be my wife, do you? Chloe froze. Why not? Ethan sighed. Forget it. You'll never understand the feeling of having the flower you've painstakingly nurtured stolen by someone else. We can never go back, you know? Even the most flawless jade looks shattered when viewed through a cracked lens. Chloe looked at Ethan with a bewildered expression. I don't understand what you mean, but I know I must have broken your heart. I'll make it up to you with my actions. Seeing that he couldn't get through to her, Ethan didn't bother trying anymore and walked out of the office. Chloe chased after him. Where are you going? Ethan thought for a moment. Home, of course. My little idiot is waiting for me. I wonder if she's fishing in the pond or rolling around on the lawn. How am I supposed to manage without Mrs. Gable? A glint appeared in Chloe's eyes. I can help you take care of Serafina. We grew up together. We know each other well. Ethan rolled his eyes. Give me a break. It's more accurate to say I raised both of you. She's an idiot, and you're not far off. Hearing this, Chloe suddenly smiled. Ethan was right. She had always been trying to resist him. In the past, hearing news like that, she would have run to the hospital without a second thought, because it felt like an excuse to escape her cage. But now, she didn't want to go at all. What did other people's lives have to do with her? That place wasn't a cage. It was home. You never needed an excuse to leave home, only to go back. Leo, it's time to pay back what you owe him. Leo was taken aback. Chloe, what are you talking about? I don't understand. Chloe smiled. You borrowed tens of millions from me. You said you'd pay it back, remember? Leo's eyes darted around, and he hesitated but didn't hang up. But I just got a notification. All the assets in my name have been repossessed. I don't owe him anything anymore. Chloe remembered her desperate arguments with Ethan in the hospital room and felt a pang of self-mockery. What he takes back is his business. The money you borrowed from me, you have to pay back to me. Leo gritted his teeth, trying one last time. You're right, Chloe, but I really don't have any money right now. Didn't we say we'd ask Ethan for startup capital? If he invests in me, I'm sure I can pay it all back quickly. Chloe sneered. You're a weak, sniveling coward who does nothing but cry. What makes you think you can start a business? You think you deserve to live in a mansion and drive luxury cars? Those designer watches and custom-made clothes are an insult on you. Pay me back now with interest. The total is $23 million. I'll give you 1 hour. If you don't have the money, I'll chop you up and feed you to the dogs. Hearing this, Leo's hand shook, and he immediately hung up. He glanced back at the lit-up operating room, gritted his teeth, and ran. The person in there was a terminally ill patient he'd paid to act the part, extending their life by 3 years. Even if they died now, it was worth it. The important thing was that he, Leo, had to live. He knew exactly what kind of person Chloe was. A vicious psychopath. Every time they went to pray for fortune, she made him kneel for a whole day holding a sign. Sometimes it was a full day and night. The hotel stays were even worse. She would tie him up, put a hood with Ethan written on it over his head, and whip him relentlessly, cursing and demanding to know why Ethan was ignoring her, why he wasn't worried about her. Chloe was a complete lunatic. She would concoct all sorts of excuses to get away from Ethan, but when he actually left her alone, she would have a breakdown and take it out on him. From the day he signed that godbrother agreement 3 years ago, his life had been a nightmare. She even wanted him and his actor mother to be part of her dowry, to move into the Sterling house with her so he could be Ethan's little brother and create a perfect family atmosphere for him. To prevent this horror from happening, he had to play innocent, constantly saying nice things to maintain the peace between her and Ethan, while desperately trying to sabotage her marriage plans. Before, Chloe might have been afraid of Ethan finding out and was less blatant. But now that Ethan had dumped her, she would undoubtedly blame him for everything. Running was his only smart option. After Leo hung up on her, a cold smile played on Chloe's lips. Over the years, she had learned a thing or two from Ethan and had cultivated some of her own hidden resources. She dialed an unsaved number, spoke a few words, and hung up. Immediately after, Chloe's expression changed, and she ran barefoot towards the elevator. In front of the headquarters building, she dove into your private car. I have no money. The Mason family is about to be destroyed by you, and you won't let me into your house. From now on, I'm living in your car. After 20 years of friendship, you wouldn't just leave me to die, would you? Ethan grimaced and thought for a moment. I can rent you a $200 a month room. Chloe shook her head. That's not enough. What about food? After all these years, I'm used to the food at home. Ethan frowned. I can sponsor you with 2 boxes of instant ramen. Seafood, beef, whatever flavor you want. You're 20 years old, you can get a job and support yourself. Of course, you could also go back to the Masons. Even after liquidation, they should have something left. But you should be prepared for a beating if you go back. Chloe shook her head again. I want to work at your company. You pay better than anyone else. Ethan's mouth twitched. I may be kind, but don't push your luck, or we won't even be friends. Chloe nodded. You know my grades have always been excellent. I want to apply for a job at your company. You don't have to pull any strings for me. If I don't pass the interview, I'll work as a janitor. If I do, you can't intentionally block me. Ethan rubbed his nose as a rough plan formed in his mind. If you're truly talented and can make money for me, then of course you're welcome. As it happens, after the Mason liquidation, I'll be taking over a large portion of their assets, and I'll need someone to manage them. Hearing this, Chloe lowered her head. Are you trying to humiliate me? Ethan smiled. I'm not that petty. It's just that your title as Miss Mason still carries some weight and can intimidate people. If you don't want the job, you don't have to take it. I won't force you. Chloe looked up into Ethan's eyes. Is that really what you think? Ethan nodded, averting his gaze. In the end, he had a soft spot for her. He couldn't just leave the person he'd raised to starve on the streets. He'd let her manage the former Mason assets as a final parting gift. After that, they would go their separate ways. At the Green Park Apartments, after dropping Chloe off at the rental, Ethan left some cash and turned to leave. Though he had spoken harshly, he wasn't cruel enough to actually rent her a $200 room. Of course, he only paid for 3 months' rent. He wasn't going to support her long-term. At the third traffic light, there was a click as the car door opened, and a woman in a red dress jumped in. Ethan was dumbfounded. First Chloe, and now this stranger. Was his car really that easy to get into? Who the hell are you? I'm stopped at a red light and you just hop in my car. There was something else he left unsaid. He hated women who ran from their weddings. If you don't love someone, don't agree to marry them. Why wait until the wedding day to run? It was irresponsible and disrespectful. He wouldn't give a woman with such poor character a second glance, no matter how beautiful she was. Seeing her struggle was futile. The woman's face took on a wronged expression. Please let me go. I really can't get caught again. Realization dawned on Ethan. He suddenly grabbed the woman's left hand and pinned her head against the car door. So you're a fugitive? Well, today's your unlucky day. I was just wondering how to get my own bad press off the front page, and you delivered yourself right to me. The woman was terrified. I'm not a fugitive. I'm really not. Let me go. You're hurting my hand. Ethan sneered. You're afraid of the police. Afraid of being caught again. You're not just a fugitive. You're a repeat offender. A young girl like you, getting into this line of work. I've seen plenty of your type, scamming men for betrothal gifts and then running off. You saw my luxury car and thought I was rich, didn't you? Did you think playing the victim would fool me and make me your next target? You made a mistake this time. I'm a recipient of the Model Citizen Award, and I love taking down criminals like you. The woman was baffled. She was just trying to hide. What did he mean she targeted him because of his car? It was the only luxury car at the intersection. No, it was the only car, period. Fine, but she never expected to run into such a model citizen. How could a psycho like this win a Model Citizen Award? It made no sense. He must have made it up. Mister, I'm really a good person. I know I was wrong. Please, can you just let me go? Ethan's resolve was firm as he held the woman down. Save it for the police. Walter, drive straight to the precinct. The driver, Walter, floored it and headed directly for the police station. 20 minutes later, outside the police precinct, the woman glared at Ethan resentfully. I told you I was a good person. Do you believe me now? Ethan shrugged. I believe you. I'm going home now. Next time, try not to do anything so dangerous. Goodbye. The woman suddenly grabbed Ethan's arm. You exposed my location. My family is on their way to drag me back. You can't leave. You have to take responsibility for me. Ethan shook her off. The police station is right behind you. If your family is forcing you, you can report them. I'm a good Samaritan and a model citizen. What responsibility do I have to you? The woman's face fell. The police can help me once, but can they help me every time? They've already dragged me back 3 times. If I get caught again, I'll never be able to escape. Ethan was confused. You have arms and legs. How did you get caught 3 times? Is there something wrong with your brain? The woman retorted angrily. You're the one with a brain problem. Your whole family has brain problems. Ethan smiled. Your family is on their way here right now, yet instead of running, you're here arguing with me. So you let them catch you every time on purpose, right? Was the offer too low? Are you trying to use this runaway bride act to negotiate a better price? The woman's eyes widened in defiance. I am not. I really am trying to escape. Only someone with a dirty mind sees dirt everywhere. An idea came to Ethan, and he smiled faintly. Don't you dare slander me. I'm a perennial winner of the Model Citizen and Outstanding Youth Awards. I've done so many good deeds that my house is overflowing with trophies I use as drinking glasses, and the commendation plaques are stacked so high I can't even count them. You say I have a dirty mind? My soul is as pure as the moon in the sky, without a single impurity. The woman looked up at him with contempt. You don't even blink when you lie. Who do you think you are? With your underdeveloped brain and non-existent cerebellum, you think driving a fancy car makes you special? You're nothing but an arrogant, conceited jerk. Ethan glanced at his watch and chuckled. You're no prize either. With your crooked eyes and nose, foul mouth and grating voice, I can't believe anyone would want to marry you. You should be thanking your lucky stars. Yet you have the nerve to run away? 3 times? I bet you took their money and don't want to pay it back, and they're just trying to collect their debt. If I were you, I'd go find a brick wall and run into it. The woman froze, then rubbed her face with the corner of her dress. Open your damn eyes and look properly. I was just making myself look ugly on purpose. And my voice is hoarse from screaming for help. It's not that I took someone's money and won't pay it back. It's my family who took the money and are forcing me to marry that old man to settle the debt. Do you understand now? It's not my fault, it's theirs. Ethan nodded and chuckled. I understand. You really are crazy. As he finished speaking, a group of people rushed over and surrounded the woman. The woman's face went pale with fear. Uncle, Aunt, I'm begging you. I really don't want to marry that old man. Please don't force me. Tell my dad. I'm his own daughter. He can't do this to me. Watching the group struggle, Ethan found it amusing. She kept saying she didn't want to get married and wanted to escape, yet she didn't run. She'd rather wait to be caught while arguing with him. What was she, if not a psycho? He pitied whatever unlucky guy ended up with her. She probably wouldn't even know enough to come in out of the rain. He was in for a world of trouble. Shaking his head, Ethan turned and got into his car. Thump! Suddenly, he felt himself being shoved forward, his head hitting the car's interior as something heavy landed on his back. Drive! Go! Drive! The woman shouted excitedly, holding the car door shut, trying to get the driver to move. But Walter didn't budge. He only took orders from his boss. Ethan managed to shake the woman off and sat up. What the hell, you lunatic? What are you doing now? The woman pleaded urgently. Tell your driver to go. Please, I'm begging you, save me. Ethan rolled his eyes. The police station is right there. You don't ask them for help, but you ask me? You really are sick in the head. Get out of my car right now, or I won't be so nice. A fierce glint appeared in the woman's eyes. She lunged at Ethan and pressed her lips against his. That was my first kiss. Save me, and I'll marry you. Ethan was completely stunned. In 2 lifetimes, this had never happened to him. The driver, Walter, who had been watching in the rearview mirror, slammed on the gas, and the car shot forward, quickly leaving the girl's family behind. You're safe now. Can you please let go of me? The girl's face flushed, and she climbed off of Ethan. Thank you. I'll definitely repay you. Ethan shook his head. I'll drop you at the next bus stop. You're on your own from there. Next time you want to run, just run. Don't wait around like an idiot to get caught. The woman bit her lip. I'm not leaving. I'm going home with you, and I'm going to marry you. Ethan froze, then frowned. Marriage isn't a game. I'll let it slide that you used me to escape this one time. But if you push your luck, I have plenty of ways to deal with you. The woman's lip trembled, and tears welled in her eyes. I'm being forced to marry someone anyway. I'd rather marry you than that old man. At least you're young and handsome. They're really driving me to my breaking point. Please, save me. Ethan shook his head. There are many ways to get help. You don't need to gamble your entire life. If you can't stay in New York, you can go somewhere else. This country is huge. You can survive anywhere. If you're going to run, why not run far away, to a place where they can't find you? The girl paused, then shook her head. I can't go too far. My mother is paralyzed and needs me to take care of her. Her nursing care costs tens of thousands of dollars a month, which I can't afford. I have to go back and beg my father. But he'll only agree to pay for my mother's medical bills if I marry one of his business partners. The man is almost 50, he has a wife but no children, and he wants me to have his baby. I've run away time and time again, but I can't abandon my mother. Ethan finally understood. There was a reason she didn't run far. Your father is pretty ruthless. Have you ever thought about reporting him? Supporting his family is his duty. What he's doing is basically human trafficking. The girl shook her head, her expression pained. It's useless. He and my mom have been divorced for over 10 years, and I'm an adult now, so he has no legal obligation. He's not forcing me directly. He's just using my mother's medical bills to make me comply. You're in a car like this, so you must be very rich. If you can help me pay for my mother's medical bills, I'll marry you. Understanding the full story, Ethan's brow relaxed. I do have a habit of helping people, but I'm a businessman and businessmen pursue profit. Tell me, what value can you bring me? And it has to be a value that not just anyone can provide. A glimmer of hope appeared in her eyes, and her mind raced. A value like marriage and children was something any woman could offer. A rich man like him wouldn't care about that. Young, beautiful girls were a dime a dozen, and she'd be cast aside once the novelty wore off. I get very good grades. Ethan smiled faintly. That's not exactly a rare commodity, is it? The girl quickly shook her head. I was the top scorer on the college entrance exams in New York. I'm a freshman at NYU, I get a scholarship every year, and I can make money. If you help me, all the money I earn in the future will be yours. Hearing this, Ethan pulled a couple of wet wipes from the glove compartment and wiped the girl's face. Well, what do you know? It really is the top scorer, Scarlett Hayes. I sent someone to recruit you last year, but you turned us down flat. I never thought I'd see you like this. Scarlett was taken aback. Recruit me last year? After the exam scores came out, a lot of companies tried to recruit me. Which one were you from? Ethan shrugged. Sterling Corporation, the first one you rejected. Scarlett shrank back, her face flushing with embarrassment. If I told you my mother was in the emergency room at that moment and I was very emotional, would you believe me? Ethan smiled. What's the point of saying that now? I'm a firm believer that you only get one chance. Your public rejection of Sterling Corp made headlines. Top scholar unimpressed with Sterling Corp's future. It cost my company over $1 billion in stock value. The bus stop is just ahead. I hope we don't meet again. Scarlett lowered her head and muttered, what does Sterling Corp's loss have to do with you? You act like you lost the money yourself, you corporate stooge. Ethan grabbed her chin. Take a good look at who I am. Scarlett stared with wide eyes, swallowing hard, but she couldn't place his face. The driver, Walter, seeing the situation in the rearview mirror, chuckled. Miss Hayes, you're the first person I've ever seen call our CEO a stooge to his face. Scarlett pushed Ethan's hand away, her face a mask of terror. You're the CEO of Sterling Corp? The business titan of New York? Ethan Sterling. Mr. Sterling, I'm so sorry. I was blind. It was my fault. I was wrong. This was the legendary Ethan Sterling, the ruthless tycoon who devoured his competition without a second thought. He had dominated the business world since he was 10, showing no mercy and driving every rival company into bankruptcy. Her one sentence last year had cost him over $1 billion, a debt she could never repay. If she fell into his hands now, she'd be lucky to escape with her life. With that thought, Scarlett lunged for the car door. Ethan saw it coming and pulled her into his arms. The car is still moving. Are you trying to kill yourself? Terrified, Scarlett curled into a ball, not daring to look at Ethan. He, however, was amused. You were quite the talker a minute ago, weren't you? Cursing at me, demanding to marry me. Why so quiet now? Scarlett whispered in a tiny voice. Ignorance is bliss. Please don't kill me. Ethan was taken aback. Me? A model citizen, an outstanding youth representative. Kill you? Scarlett immediately replied. You're right. You're absolutely right. You're a magnanimous person. Can you please spare my life? Ethan pried her hands away and lifted her face. Work for me for free for 10 years, or I send you home right now. Choose one. Scarlett gritted her teeth. You vicious capitalist. I curse you to a miserable death. Ethan sneered. So you choose the second option? Walter, take Miss Hayes home, and give them a $200 wedding gift from me. I plan on celebrating tonight. Scarlett turned and tried to bite Ethan's hand, but he quickly caught her by the chin. Let me go. I'll fight you. Ethan used his other hand to pat her on the head. I was just kidding. Let me finish. You work for me for free, and I'll cover all your mother's medical expenses, plus your room and board. Once you've earned $200 million for me, we'll call it even. Of course, if you're not capable enough, I'll fire you. Scarlett said angrily. That's not fair. I don't agree. Ethan let her go and smiled. The world is never fair. I only ever give people one chance. The only reason I'm making an exception and giving you a second is because I see your talent. If you're truly capable, using the Sterling Corp platform, earning $200 million is just a matter of a few deals. You could do it in a few months. That's my offer. If you don't agree, I won't force you. You can get out at the next intersection. Just as he finished speaking, the car stopped at an intersection. Scarlett hesitated. She was a top scholar. She wasn't stupid. She knew how dire her situation was. While this opportunity seemed unfair, compared to being forced to marry and become a baby machine, this unequal contract seemed far more advantageous for her. Can you let me finish college? I can accumulate more knowledge and make more money for you that way. Ethan nodded. Of course, I'll cover all your expenses while you're in school. But that time won't count towards the 10 years. Scarlett's brow furrowed as she made a difficult decision. Ethan was right. Sterling Corp was a $100 billion company. The platform was immense. Besides, her mother desperately needed money now, and while Ethan was profit-driven, he hadn't left her without an escape route. For someone her own age to have achieved so much, his vision must be beyond her imagination. Maybe she could build a real career with him. I agree. I'll work for you for free for 10 years after graduation, but you can't interfere with my personal freedom. Ethan nodded. Give me your home address. I'll go sort things out for you to avoid future trouble. And I'll have your mother transferred to my private hospital. It was always better to hold someone's leverage in your own hands. This was a gamble with a small investment but a potentially huge payoff. If he lost, he'd be out a few million at most. If he won, the return would be 1,000-fold. Scarlett finally realized. So you didn't even know where I live? When you said you were sending me home, you were just bluffing? Ethan smiled faintly. Is there a problem? A surge of anger rose in Scarlett, but it quickly deflated. Clearwater Gardens, the Hayes residence. Hearing the address, Walter started the car and turned at the intersection. 20 minutes later, at the Hayes front door, Ethan got out of the car with Scarlett. This is the first time I've seen a car drive right up to a place like this, Scarlett said, a hint of envy in her voice. Ethan shrugged. What can I say? I'm the richest man in the city. The richest man has to live like it. As they were talking, they reached the front door. After ringing the bell, a well-dressed woman in her 40s answered. Scarlett, you have the nerve to come back? Who gave you the audacity to run from your wedding? Slap. The shrewish woman rushed forward and slapped Scarlett hard across the face. Scarlett stumbled, blood trickling from the corner of her mouth. It happened so suddenly that Ethan was caught off guard. He stepped between them. "Ma'am, we can talk, but there's no need to get physical." The woman raised her hand to slap Ethan. "This is Hayes' family business. It's not for some punk like you to interfere." Ethan took a step forward and shoulder-checked her, sending her flying several feet. "I don't care what family it is, hitting people is wrong." Ethan then pinned the woman to the ground with his foot, bent down and slapped her twice. "Let these 2 slaps be a lesson in manners. Remember this, never pick a fight with someone stronger than you." After that, Ethan stepped back to Scarlett's side. The woman, recovering from the shock, began to roll on the ground, wailing, "Help! Scarlett is out of control. She brought some strange man home to beat us. Everyone, come quick!" At her screams, the rest of the Hayes family gathered around. "Scarlett, what is wrong with you? Not only did you run from your wedding, but you brought someone home to cause trouble? I'm going to teach you a lesson today." The speaker was a man in his 40s, and he too raised his hand to slap Scarlett. Ethan's head was spinning. What was wrong with this family? Why did they all resort to slapping? A grown man hitting a young girl. Ethan lunged forward and kicked the man in the stomach, sending him flying and rolling across the ground. "Scarlett, you've gotten bold. You dare bring someone to hit your own father. I'll teach you a lesson today." The shrewish woman charged again, aiming for Scarlett's face. This time, Ethan was ready and slapped her so hard she spun around 2.5 times before collapsing. "Scarlett, you dare bring someone to hit my mom. I'm going to kill you today." A girl of about 17 or 18 also rushed forward, also aiming for Scarlett's face. Ethan's mind raced. He didn't understand it, but he still slapped the girl to the ground. "Scarlett, you." This time, before the person could even finish, Ethan rushed forward and slapped a boy of about 15 or 16 across the face. After he was done, Ethan turned to Scarlett, a look of confusion on his face. "Is your entire family insane? Why do they all try to slap you in the face? And that includes you. Why do you look so unfazed?" Scarlett shook her head. "They're not sick, they're just used to hitting me like this. There's nothing a slap can't solve. If one doesn't work, then 2 will." Ethan was baffled. "You never thought of fighting back?" Scarlett gave a bitter smile. "What's the use of fighting back? My mother and I both need their money." But then, a sunny smile spread across Scarlett's face, and her eyes shimmered as she looked at Ethan. "It feels so good to be protected." Ethan took the tissue he'd used on her earlier from his pocket and wiped away her tears. "Don't be afraid. From now on, you're with me. I don't hit people." Scarlett smiled and nodded. "Okay." The family, having been thoroughly beaten, huddled together quietly. "Scarlett, you just wait. Mr. Huang is already on his way with his men. You're marrying him today, no matter what, and you're going to have his children." "That's right. Mr. Huang is so rich, and he promised to give you $100,000 for every child you have for him. Where else are you going to find a deal like that? You should be thanking us, but instead you bring someone to beat us. You ungrateful brat. All our kindness to you was wasted, and you still want us to pay for your crippled mother's medical bills? You get on your knees and beg for our forgiveness right now, then go obediently with Mr. Huang and have his children." Scarlett suddenly stood on her tiptoes and kissed Ethan on the cheek. She then turned to her family with a triumphant look. "I'm so sorry to disappoint you. This is my boyfriend, my future husband. He will be paying for my mother's medical bills from now on, and I will only be having his children. You want to use me to build a bridge to the Huang family? Dream on." Ethan's mouth twitched as he tried to explain, but Scarlett jumped up, wrapped her arms around his neck, and silenced him with a kiss. A few seconds later, she pulled back, her face flushed, and whispered, "Help me. Punish them in my name as my boyfriend. It'll be easier to explain to the police that way." Ethan understood instantly. If he acted as her boyfriend, his intervention would seem reasonable. Even if he beat them up again, he would have a plausible excuse for the police, turning a potential criminal case into a civil dispute that could be settled with a little money. College students really were clever. Although his status meant he didn't need such pretenses, since the girl had asked, he decided to play along. Ethan then wrapped an arm around Scarlett's waist. "I'll help you this once. That'll be an extra $50 million on your debt." Scarlett's eyes widened in disbelief. "You unscrupulous capitalist. Why don't you just rob a bank?" Ethan smiled. "I am robbing you. Can't you see?" Scarlett gritted her teeth. Since she had already decided to latch onto Sterling Corp, what was the difference between a $200 million debt and a $250 million one? She'd worry about the future later. For now, she just wanted satisfaction. "Fine, but you have to teach them a harsh lesson, crush them completely. If I'm satisfied, I'll earn you an extra $50 million. With that, Scarlett kissed him again. "Honey, they're all bullying me, trying to sell me to an old man as a baby machine. You have to stand up for me. My life is so miserable." Watching Scarlett's terrible acting, Ethan almost burst out laughing. But for $50 million, he decided to play along. "What did you say? They dared to treat you like that? I'll make them pay a painful price." Ethan took out his phone and pressed a special alert button. A few hundred feet away, 2 teams of bodyguards received the signal and rushed towards the Hayes residence. As a billionaire CEO, He had bodyguards on a 24-hour rotation, always following him discreetly. The Hayes family didn't see Mr. Huang arrive, but instead a group of large men in sunglasses, which made them tremble with fear. Ethan waved a hand. "You know how to handle this. I don't need to tell you." The bodyguards understood and swarmed forward, delivering a flurry of punches and kicks to the Hayes family. The four of them writhed on the ground in agony, several of their joints dislocated. These bodyguards were specially trained to inflict maximum pain with minimal long-term injury. After the beating, they promptly reset the dislocated joints. Ethan waved his hand. "Dismiss and blend in." Upon receiving the order, the bodyguards instantly dispersed, melting into the background like ordinary passersby, some chatting, others admiring the scenery. "Are you satisfied now?" Scarlett shook her head. "A beating is too lenient. Do you have anything more severe? Something that will ruin their family completely?" Ethan was taken aback. "For a young girl, you're quite vicious." A deep hatred burned in Scarlett's eyes. "Compared to them, my viciousness is nothing. Years ago, that bastard tormented my mother and me endlessly to drive her away so his mistress could move in. My mother almost died at his hands. To save her own life, she had to divorce him and take me with her. That's when she sustained severe internal injuries that have only gotten more painful with age. Last year, an old injury flared up, causing a massive cerebral hemorrhage that left her paralyzed. To ensure she could continue her treatment, I humbled myself, working as their servant and punching bag. You saw it yourself. Hitting me has become a habit for them. That mistress and her children, terrified I'd come back to fight for the inheritance, have been plotting to destroy me. Forcing me to have that old man's baby was their idea. I even overheard them planning to film me, sell the videos, and then sell me to someone else after I had the baby, saying that since I was a top scholar with good genes, I could make them a fortune by having children for others." The more Scarlett spoke, the more agitated she became, tears streaming down her face. Ethan patted her back comfortingly. "It's my fault. I haven't experienced your suffering, yet I advised you to be kind. I will help you get justice." "Hey kid, let go of my wife." Just then, a group of men rushed to the Hayes front door, the old man leading them, pointing at Ethan and roaring. Ethan had no time to waste on them. He waved his hand, and dozens of bodyguards appeared, pinning the newcomers to the ground and giving them a thorough beating. Afterward, Ethan had the bodyguards tie them all up and send them to the police station. Unlawful imprisonment, assault, human trafficking, forcing someone into prostitution. With Sterling Corp's legal team on the case, they would ensure these people spent the rest of their lives in prison. To Scarlett, the Hayes family and Mr. Huang might have seemed like insurmountable mountains, but to Ethan, they were nothing more than insignificant pests. At the Sterling estate, the moment he stepped through the door, a head came charging at him. The most frustrating part was that he couldn't dodge, or the silly girl would miss, and who knows what kind of disaster would follow. Thud. As expected, Serafina's head connected squarely with Ethan's chest, knocking the grown man back several steps. "Even though I'm not controlling this, I fully approve of this headbutt. According to the plot I wrote, around this time you're supposed to meet Scarlett, the runaway bride who will do anything to marry into wealth and power. She's meant to be a catalyst for you and Chloe, helping you both see through your misunderstandings and realize your true feelings for each other. Her ending isn't great. She loses everything and has to leave town. But right now, aren't you supposed to be renting an apartment for this villainous Scarlett? Why did you bring her home? How is Chloe ever going to forgive you now? And if Chloe doesn't forgive you, how am I supposed to complete my mission and break these restrictions?" Ethan rubbed his chest in pain. "How is your head getting harder?" Serafina raised her arms with an innocent expression, asking for a hug. "Serves you right. This is the system's punishment for unexpectedly changing the plot, and you've taken every hit." Ethan sighed and picked Serafina up. Scarlett, standing nearby, said in amazement, "Is this the foolish sister you were talking about? She's so beautiful, so delicate. I've never seen such a gorgeous girl." Ethan sighed as he walked. Alas, perhaps even heaven was jealous of her perfection, so it took away her mind. Serafina suddenly nuzzled her nose against Ethan's, sniffed, and then turned to look at Scarlett. Male lead's fortune has been siphoned by supporting female character Scarlett Hayes. Host, please retrieve and replenish immediately to maintain plot stability. 50% of physical restrictions lifted for 3 minutes. Fortune, Scarlett kissed Ethan and stole his fortune? 3 minutes? Hetty. Suddenly, Serafina reached out, pulled Scarlett close, and planted a firm kiss on her lips. A few seconds later, she turned and lunged towards Ethan. Serafina's actions left Scarlett stunned and blushing. Ethan quickly put a hand on Serafina's head to stop her, explaining, "Her senses are very sharp. She must have smelled your lipstick on me and thought it was something to eat, so she wanted a taste. You don't mind, do you?" Scarlett shook her head, her face still red. "I don't mind, I understand. I was just in a hurry back then. It was all an act for my family. Please don't misunderstand." Ethan smiled. "No need to explain. It was mutually beneficial. I get it." Serafina. "Damn you, Ethan. Let me go. Just one kiss. That's all I need. I'm trying to replenish your fortune. Don't be so ungrateful." Watching the flailing Serafina, Ethan sighed in frustration. "Don't move, and absolutely no kissing me. Do you hear?" Scarlett chuckled from the side. "She's imitating me kissing you. is actually really cute. Why don't you just satisfy her curiosity? Ethan shot her a glare. Do you have any idea what you're saying? Scarlett grinned. You're her brother. What's wrong with letting your sister give you a kiss? If I had such an adorable, clingy sister, I'd let her kiss me all day. Ethan shot Scarlett a fierce look. Get lost. Her business is none of your business. Scarlett shrank back and picked up her suitcase. Mr. Thompson, where did Mr. Sterling say I should stay? Mr. Thompson gestured. Miss Mason just moved out. Her room is still fresh, not damp or musty. We'll just change the sheets, and you can move right in, Miss Hayes. Scarlett paused, and Mr. Thompson turned to look at Ethan. You mean Chloe, the one who ran from the wedding? I can understand running, but why run from that wedding? Will I get dumber if I stay in her room? Ethan replied casually, if she doesn't want to stay there, put her in another room. The other rooms have been empty for too long. Have someone clean and disinfect them all tomorrow. Hearing this, Scarlett immediately grabbed her suitcase and ran towards the room Chloe used to occupy. It was the former lady of the house's room. It had to be comfortable. She wasn't an idiot. Why would she choose a musty room when a perfect one was available? She had lived a hard life, but now that she had a benefactor, it was time for things to get better. Mr. Thompson smiled. Miss Hayes has a very lively and charming personality, much sunnier than Miss Mason's. Ethan nodded. Someone who has grown up in adversity has resilience. She knows how to find her own light and happiness. Inform the staff that she is to receive no special treatment. Mr. Thompson bowed, though he thought to himself. He says no special treatment, but he immediately gives her the master suite. That's treatment for the lady of the house. If this Miss Hayes was smart and well-behaved, she might just have a chance to become the new mistress here. Hearing this, Serafina's mind exploded. What does he mean, grown up in adversity and knows how to find her own light? My character's setting for her was a vain social climber who, after experiencing poverty, would do anything to marry into wealth. In the plot, after running from her wedding, she was supposed to use my idiot brother to cause all sorts of trouble and ruin his relationship with Chloe. My poor, foolish brother was supposed to be deceived, and only after seeing her true colors would he regret everything, kneeling before Chloe for 3 days and 3 nights to earn her forgiveness. Men are such simple-minded creatures. All of them are idiots. After Mr. Thompson left, Ethan sat down with Serafina in his arms. Serafina, I'm your brother. You can't kiss me, understand? Serafina began to struggle. There's not enough time. Damn you, Ethan, let me go. And you, stupid system, lift my speech restriction. Ethan felt helpless. He remembered Serafina not being like this before. She used to be just purely simple-minded, always in a daze. But now she was becoming a handful. Perhaps it was because she was younger then, and he could treat her like a child, enjoying holding her and teasing her. But she was grown now, just a few months away from being a legal adult. A daughter should keep her distance from her father, let alone a brother. With this in mind, Ethan made a call. Mrs. Gable, can you come back? I'll pay you triple. If you need to take care of your grandchild, you can bring your whole family here. I have enough room. Yes, it's because Serafina is a young woman now, and I can't take care of her properly anymore, and she won't accept anyone else. What did you say? Serafina drove you away? How is that possible? Beep. Staring at the disconnected call, Ethan was baffled. He looked at Serafina with a strange expression. Serafina, you don't like Mrs. Gable? Serafina stopped struggling. It's over, time's up. I can't control my body anymore. Did I drive Mrs. Gable away? The system did it. What does that have to do with me? Ethan thought for a moment and suddenly understood. He had been so busy with work these past few years and spent less time at home with Serafina, leaving her mostly in Mrs. Gable's care. She probably thought that if Mrs. Gable were gone, he would spend more time with her, so she started rejecting her care. It was a simple, childish mindset, but a frustrating one. Since she was already rejecting Mrs. Gable, bringing her back would be pointless. You're getting smelly. How about I have one of the maids, Anna, give you a bath? Serafina shook her head frantically. Damn you, system. You've suppressed me for 17 years, and now you won't even grant me the basic right to take a bath. What about Maria? She's very gentle. Serafina still shook her head. Ethan thought for a moment. How about the new girl, Scarlett? Would you let her give you a bath? Serafina hesitated, then nodded. What do you mean, stupid system? You're letting the villainess bathe me? What are you planning? Ding. Fortune replenishment mission failed. Penalty, 10-second soul shock. System will now take control of host's body to forcibly return the plot to its original course. Penalty? A soul shock? It's been 17 years, and you're hitting me this hard on the first mission? Don't I get a beginner's discount? Ah, damn you, Ethan. I hate you. You made me fail my mission. Just wait until I'm free. I'll pay you back 100 times over. Why is 10 seconds so long? Are you messing with me, you stupid system? In the living room, Ethan let out a long sigh of relief, having finally solved one difficult problem. Serafina's senses were extremely sharp. Anyone with impure intentions couldn't get close to her. Perhaps because she had kissed Scarlett, her first impression of her was a good one. Having figured this out, Ethan carried Serafina to Scarlett's room. As he pushed the door open, he saw Scarlett laying out some clothes. What are you doing in here? Don't you know how to knock? Ethan paused. Next time I will. Could I trouble you to give Serafina a bath? She hasn't had one in days, since Mrs. Gable left. Scarlett smiled. It's a small thing. No problem. Leave it to me. Ethan gave a few instructions, put Serafina down, and left the room. Scarlett immediately ran over and pinched Serafina's cheek. So soft, so cute. Serafina slapped Scarlett's hand away. Don't you kiss him again. Scarlett was taken aback, a flicker of surprise in her eyes. Are you warning me? Are you in love with your brother? Serafina paused, didn't answer, and turned towards the bathroom. A spark of curiosity ignited in Scarlett, and she quickly followed. A long while later, they came out of the bath. Scarlett held Serafina's hand, her eyes full of anticipation. Tell me, are you in love with your brother? You've been pretending to be a fool all this time, haven't you? You're afraid he won't like you anymore if he finds out, right? Serafina turned to look into Scarlett's eyes, which began to glow with a strange light. A few seconds later, Serafina, why are you here? No, why am I here? Wait, why are we here? Scarlett looked down at both of them wrapped in towels, completely bewildered. She only remembered getting her clothes ready for a bath. How had she finished already? And with Serafina, no less. Serafina ignored her, walked out of the room, went upstairs and turned a doorknob. What are you doing, stupid system? Stop it. In the bathroom, Ethan was whistling a tune, having just lathered his hair with shampoo, when a figure burst in. Flying free in your heart, holy crap. Serafina, what are you doing? With a cry of alarm, Ethan held on tightly to Serafina, who was wrapped only in a towel. She was flailing and clawing at him, completely oblivious to the fact that her towel had come loose. If Ethan hadn't been holding it in place, they would have been face to face with nothing between them. Let go, you idiot brother. Just let the system transfer the fortune back so your adorable little sister can have an easier life, okay? Do you have any idea how much a soul shock hurts? Just give up, my dear foolish brother. Helpless, Ethan could only carry Serafina out of the bathroom. He was about to open the closet to get her some clothes, but he hesitated. Instead, he opened the door and shouted downstairs, Scarlett, get up here. Scarlett, confused, instinctively took a couple of steps but quickly stopped. This was the Sterling estate. Even though it was the private living area where only the butler was allowed, it wasn't a place she could run around in just a towel. Scarlett, what's taking you so long? Hearing Ethan's call again, Scarlett threw caution to the wind and ran upstairs. When she opened the door, she saw a barely clothed Ethan tightly holding a struggling Serafina. Her face flushed and her heart pounded. It was the first time in her life she had seen a man's full physique, and for some reason, she couldn't help but feel a sense of curiosity. Are you just going to stand there and stare? Come and grab her. Scarlett snapped out of her daze and ran over to hold Serafina. Once free, Ethan quickly threw on a robe and took a dress from the closet. Remember this, every master bedroom in this house has a wardrobe specifically for Serafina's clothes. Next time you bathe her, make sure you dress her afterward. If this happens again, you can forget about working for me. Scarlett glanced around and noticed the soap suds still in Ethan's hair, and she finally understood. Serafina must have gone looking for her brother, burst into the bathroom, and startled him. Having such a troublesome sister must be tough, even for a powerful CEO. Got it, Mr. Sterling. I'll be more careful next time. Hearing this, Ethan left the room, went downstairs, and entered the first-floor master bedroom. Scarlett gently pushed Serafina onto the bed and dressed her. Serafina was laughing hysterically inside. You think you're so great, stupid system? You couldn't even handle it in 10 minutes, but you only gave me 3, and then shocked me when I failed. Are you going to self-administer a 1-minute shock now? Ding. Host incompetence detected. Future mission completion impossible. System unbinding initiated. Unbinding progress. 99%, 98%, 97%, 95%. Special notice. Upon system unbinding, the perfect host body will disintegrate, and the host's soul will dissipate, with no possibility of rebirth. Serafina's internal laughter came to an abrupt halt. The year she took her college entrance exams, she had studied day and night, worked part-time jobs to make ends meet, and ultimately drowned in a sea of knowledge at a young age. Her soul was reborn into this novel she herself had written. Because her extra soul disrupted the world's rules, she was imprisoned by the system, a manifestation of those rules. It wasn't until yesterday, when Chloe ran from the wedding, that the main storyline truly began. As long as all the main plot points were completed, this world would become a true parallel universe. The rules would deem her no longer a threat to the world's operation and gradually release their hold on her. As compensation for its creator, she would be truly reborn in this world, in Serafina's perfect body. No, I don't want to die. This isn't fair. You're the one who restricted my freedom, which is why I couldn't complete the mission. Why am I the only one being punished? The host desires fairness? Shall the opportunity for a perfect rebirth be revoked? The greatest fairness for humans is that they each only have one life. I was joking. I've always thought this world was very fair. I was just wondering, is there any way to stop you from unbinding? Ding. System unbinding is irreversible. Special notice. When unbinding progress reaches 0%, the host will be completely erased. Hearing the system's notice, Serafina's heart turned to ash. As the author, completing the main plot should have been easy for her. The problem was, she wasn't a soul from this world, and the rules restricted her freedom, making it impossible for her to actively complete the missions. Was there really no other way? So, she was doomed to die. Ding. Theoretically, yes. Meanwhile, after dressing Serafina, Scarlet hurried downstairs and back to her room to change. Click. The bathroom door opened. Turning to see Ethan walk out, Scarlet immediately leaped into bed and pulled the covers over her head. Ethan shook his head, walked to the closet, took out his clothes, and began to change right in front of her. Could you please go outside to change? Scarlet stammered, her face red and her heart pounding, as she covered her eyes with her hands. Ethan sneered. You can close your eyes or cover your head with the blanket. Also, your fingers are very slender, and the gaps between them are a bit wide. Hearing this, Scarlet wished she could disappear into the floor and immediately pulled the blanket over her head. Ethan glanced at Scarlet's open suitcase. The clothes inside, though clean, were faded from washing, and some even had patches. You're about the same height and build as Serafina. There are new clothes in her closet you can try. These are her favorites. If you wear them, she might grow closer to you. If you can help me take good care of her, I can cancel your entire debt to me. Scarlet peeked her head out. Really? Ethan turned around. Of course, he always kept his word. Scarlet's eyes suddenly widened at the sight before her. Ah, you pervert. Watching her shriek and dive back under the covers, Ethan was completely confused. What a psycho. It's not like I'm naked. Muttering a curse, he picked up his shorts and left the room. Hearing the door close, Scarlet leaped out of bed. You're the psycho. Your whole family is full of psychos. Then she realized she was naked and quickly dove back under the covers. As she looked for clothes, she saw her open suitcase and paused. He saw everything? Was he pitying me? He could have just given me new clothes, but he had to find an excuse. That Chloe really is crazy. Why would she give up such a good man? Wait, why am I even thinking about this? Shaking her head vigorously, Scarlet took a new, simple white floral nightgown from the wardrobe. The material was soft and silky, the craftsmanship exquisite. She smiled to herself and put it on. Since she had decided to rely on him, she might as well embrace it. She would pay him back double in the future. The next morning, when Ethan woke up and didn't see Serafina, he breathed a sigh of relief. The previous night, he and Scarlet had managed to convince Serafina to sleep in Scarlet's room from now on. Not seeing her causing trouble meant the plan was a success. Serafina was slowly accepting Scarlet. An easier life was waving at him. For a moment, Ethan felt a sense of complete peace. After breakfast, Scarlet got into the car with Ethan. I need to start by understanding the inner workings of your company. Then I'll create a study plan so I can be a better worker for you in the future. Ethan nodded in satisfaction. You're the most dedicated workhorse I've ever met. As it happens, Chris is taking time off to help his wife with the new baby, so the assistant position is open. You can fill in for him and familiarize yourself with the business. By the time he's back, your break will be over, and you can go back to your classes. Hearing this, Scarlet blushed and fidgeted. Is that appropriate? A female college student as your personal assistant? Ethan rolled his eyes. Who the hell said anything about personal? If you've got a problem with your brain, go get it checked. I'll pay for it. Scarlet lowered her head in embarrassment. Walter drove smoothly and quickly. At the Sterling Corp headquarters, Ethan had Chris announce that Scarlet would be temporarily taking over as his assistant. And so, Scarlet began her life as an unpaid workhorse. After 2 hours, Scarlet was completely overwhelmed. She couldn't imagine that a mere assistant had so much to do. How did Chris manage it all? Of course, she didn't know that Chris couldn't handle it all either. He just knew how to delegate tasks instead of trying to do everything himself. Miss Hayes, a tricky issue has come up in HR. Could you please handle it? She had just sat down for a sip of water when someone else came running to her. How can you all be so incapable of handling things? What does the boss pay you for? Scarlet, exhausted, began to complain. The HR employee hesitated. Someone came in for an interview today. She's the CEO's ex-fiancée. We don't know how to handle it. Scarlet spat out her water. Chloe? She's applying for a job at Sterling Corp? Is she insane? The employee sighed. Maybe she is. If she weren't, why would she have run from the wedding? The CEO is so young, handsome, and rich. He's the dream man for countless girls. Yet she just threw him away. Hearing that Chloe was there for an interview, a fire ignited within Scarlet. Her back no longer ached. Her legs no longer hurt. Take me to her. I'm going to interview her myself. In the interview room, Scarlet looked at the stunningly beautiful girl sitting across from her. You're Chloe Mason? Chloe nodded, her eyes lingering on Scarlet's name badge and then her clothes, a strange look in her eyes. You're Ethan's new assistant? Scarlet smiled faintly. I am. What position are you applying for today? Chloe gritted her teeth. Why are you wearing the same clothes as Serafina? Are you trying to use such a despicable trick to get close to Ethan? Scarlet paused, then smiled. You have a good eye, Miss Mason, but you've misunderstood. My dear Ethan gave me these clothes. He said if I dress like this from now on, Serafina will like being with me. Hearing this, Chloe stared at Scarlet, a dangerous glint in her eyes. I advise you to stay away from him. He's not someone you should be fantasizing about. For some reason, Scarlett felt a surge of defiance. You don't need to worry about that, Miss Mason. By the way, the bed you used to sleep in is really soft. Chloe shot to her feet, glaring at Scarlett. What did you say? You slept in my bed. Scarlett glared back. Didn't you hear me? I'm living in your old room now. Yesterday, he even took a shower in my bathroom and changed his clothes right in front of me. Chloe's eyes turned red, and she gritted her teeth so hard they audibly ground together. I was with him for 20 years, and we never even… What right do you have? For some reason, seeing Chloe's anger gave Scarlett a strange sense of satisfaction. The right of being his new girlfriend. I gave him my first time, and I'm going to marry him and have his children. Chloe was incredulous. You gave him your first time? You two already… I was his childhood sweetheart for 20 years, and I never even touched him. How dare you? Scarlett thought to herself. A first kiss counts as a first time, right? Whatever. Seeing Chloe like this was just too satisfying. Yes, it's exactly what you think. Don't tell me you two never did anything. Scarlett paused, then feigned realization, a look of contempt on her face. 20 years as childhood sweethearts, and you wouldn't even let your fiancé touch you. Were you afraid of upsetting your little boy toy on the side? TSK, TSK. My poor Ethan. I'll have to be extra good to him from now on. Chloe's anger exploded. She lunged at Scarlett and grabbed her hair. I didn't betray him. I was just saving the best for our wedding night. You bitch. Taking advantage of the situation. I'm going to kill you. Scarlett didn't back down, grabbing Chloe's hair in return. Running off with your boy toy on your wedding day? You were clearly saving the best for him, weren't you? Did that give you a thrill, a rush of excitement? You're the real bitch. As the two women began to brawl, their colleagues stared in shock. Quick, go get the CEO. His ex-fiancé and his new girlfriend are fighting. Yes, go tell the CEO. His fiancé and his girlfriend are fighting. What? The CEO's fiancé and girlfriend are fighting. Holy crap, this is huge. The boss's wife and his mistress are fighting. So which one is the wife and which one is the mistress? Didn't Chloe just run from the wedding? You're just here for the drama. Who cares about the details? Right. This is the first time we've had drama about the CEO. Quick, get my chair. Where's my phone? I'm going live to share this with everyone. In the CEO's office, a young secretary rushed in. Mr. Sterling, it's terrible. Your wives are fighting. Ethan sprayed a mouthful of coffee all over his documents. What are you talking about? My wives are fighting. The secretary nodded. Yes, your two wives are fighting. It's really vicious. None of us dared to intervene. You should go see for yourself. Ethan suddenly laughed. Is this some kind of special event you're all putting on? You dare to prank me? Do you not want this month's bonuses? The secretary was taken aback. No, sir. It's not a special event. Your two wives are really fighting. Ethan's mind went blank. I'm not even married. Where did I get wives? Two of them, no less? There's a limit to pranks, you know. Who would even believe that? The secretary grew anxious. Why don't you believe me? You can check the company's group chat yourself. The news is all over the company. Ethan immediately opened the group chat and saw it flooded with messages, along with photos and videos of two women pulling each other's hair. Scarlett? Chloe? Why were they fighting? The secretary shrugged. They're fighting over you, of course. Ethan's head throbbed. You've lost this month's bonus. With that, he rushed towards the HR department. 10 minutes later, two disheveled women were brought back to Ethan's office. Can one of you give me a reasonable explanation? Ethan wasn't angry, just confused as to why they were fighting. Did they have some prior history? They were both students at NYU, Chloe a sophomore and Scarlett a freshman. Did they have some conflict at school? If he didn't handle this and they fought on campus and got disciplined, it would be a huge headache. Chloe looked up, her face full of grievance. Why did you let her stay in my room? And why did you let her wear Serafina's clothes? Ethan was taken aback. Let's be clear. It's my house. I decide who lives there. That's my prerogative. Also, her clothes are new, not hand-me-downs from Serafina. I may be frugal, but I'm not so cheap as to give people used clothing. Scarlett chimed in from the side. That's right. My dear Ethan likes me, so I can live wherever he wants me to. What does it have to do with a psycho like you? Chloe's eyes reddened, and tears welled up. You like her now, not me, right? I'm already trying so hard to make it up to you. Why won't you give me a chance? Can't you just wait for me? Ethan's head was a mess. He couldn't understand what they were talking about. I don't care what issues you two have had in the past. From now on, no more fighting. Can you do that? For some reason, Scarlett had a brain fart, threw herself into Ethan's arms, and gave him a quick kiss. Okay, honey, I'll never fight with her again. Before Ethan could react, Chloe charged forward as well, and the impact of both women sent him tumbling to the floor. He's my husband. You bitch, let go of him. You ran from the wedding. He's my boyfriend now, so you get lost. The two women, still on top of Ethan, started fighting again. Ethan panicked, grabbing one of them tightly and trying to keep his voice low. Ladies, please, can we calm down? I'm not her husband, and I'm not your boyfriend. Can we please not fight? Or if you have to fight, can you at least wait until I get up? I'm an innocent bystander here. After a few more seconds, the two women calmed down. Ethan seized the opportunity to scramble to his feet and retreat several feet away. He was genuinely scared. When those two fought, they had no regard for his safety, scratching and kicking him in the process. Their sharp nails left burning marks on his chest and arms, and their high heels were surprisingly painful. This ends now. Can you two just shake hands? No. Can you each just take a step back? As he spoke, Ethan took another step back himself. Chloe glared at Scarlett. I came here for a job interview today, and she ruined it. She has to take responsibility. Scarlett stuck her chin out. Our company doesn't hire shrews. Your interview is over, and you failed. Seeing that they were about to start fighting again, Ethan quickly played peacemaker. You passed the interview. You can start your job. Chloe shot another glare at Scarlett. You just wait. I'm not done with you. She then stormed out of the room. After she left, Ethan asked, What's wrong with you? Why are you so set on fighting with her? With Chloe gone, Scarlett returned to her normal self. I don't know. The moment I see her, I just get angry and want to provoke her. But I've never met her before. It must be that room in your house. Everyone who stays in it goes crazy. Ethan paused, actually starting to believe her. Maybe you should try a different room? Scarlett thought for a moment. I'm scared. Can I move in and sleep with you? Ethan slapped his forehead. It's over. You really have gone crazy. Scarlett quickly clarified. It's not what you think. I can sleep on the floor. Ethan waved his hand. Forget it. From now on, you take the second floor room and we'll switch. I want to see if I go crazy too. Scarlett nodded. Okay, I'll go pack my things. On the 28th floor, in the restroom, Scarlett ran into Chloe again. They stood before the mirror, combing their hair and adjusting their clothes. I'm really curious. Why did you run from the wedding? Is that boy toy of yours really better than my Ethan? Scarlett couldn't help but ask. Chloe smoothed her hair and wiped the smudged lipstick from the corner of her mouth with a tissue. I never intended to leave him, let alone betray him. We have a 20-year history that you can't overcome. You should leave him now with some dignity before you end up regretting it. Scarlett rubbed her temples. He asked me to sleep in his room tonight. Do you know how many abs he has? Do you know how soft his lips are? Chloe turned, her eyes filled with murderous intent. If you dare to touch him again, I'll make your life a living hell. Scarlett smiled. He's my boyfriend. Why can't I touch him? You're a strange one. You play around so much on the side, won't even let your own fiancé touch you, and now you're trying to meddle in other people's business. Have you no shame? Chloe took a deep breath, suppressing her anger. Let me give you a piece of advice. Ethan is not a shallow person. You should leave now. If he finds out what a sharp-tongued shrew you are, your end will be miserable. Scarlett looked dismissive. How am I being a shrew? I'm just stating the facts. You humiliated him, and I'm helping him teach you a lesson. I'm younger than you, cleaner than you, and just as beautiful. When he finds out, he'll definitely like me more. The one who should leave has always been you. Chloe gritted her teeth and put away her makeup bag. We'll see about that. Scarlett shrugged. You'd better hurry up. In a few days, we might even have a baby on the way. By then, it'll be too late for you to say anything. After all, bragging was free and trash talk wasn't a crime. The important thing was to get the last word in and feel good about it. Chloe gave Scarlett a long, hard look, said nothing, and walked out of the restroom. Scarlett smiled faintly, wiped her hands and followed her out. In the CEO's office, seeing the two of them gathered together again, Ethan's head began to pound. Are you two not busy? Chloe shook her head. I've been hired as your personal assistant. I'm waiting for your instructions. Scarlett interjected. I'm your personal assistant. If there's work to be done, I should be the one doing it. Ethan pressed his hand to his forehead. My personal assistant is Chris. He's just on leave right now. Do you understand? Chloe nodded. I'm familiar with your daily routines. I can also be your lifestyle assistant and take care of your day-to-day needs. Scarlett stepped forward. I'm your girlfriend. I'm enough to take care of you. You don't need a lifestyle assistant. Ethan slammed his hand on the desk. That's enough, both of you. I can take care of myself. I don't need a lifestyle assistant, and I am not your boyfriend, nor do I need your care. Now both of you, get out. Humph. The two women exchanged a look, snorted, and left the office together. Ethan suddenly realized something. Wasn't he planning to have Chloe manage the acquired Mason family assets? How did she end up as his assistant? He immediately called the HR department. A short while later, he hung up with a strange expression on his face. Chloe had requested the assistant position herself. She had even drafted her own contract, a lifetime agreement to work for only a base salary. What on earth had gotten into Chloe? Why would she do something so absurd? Had the events of the past 2 days been too much for her? He decided to let it be for now and wait for her to calm down. The contract was in his hands. He could cancel it any time. In the assistant's office, Chloe and Scarlett stood face to face, daggers in their eyes. I have a signed contract. This office should be mine, Chloe said coldly, holding up the document. Scarlett smiled. My dear Ethan appointed me personally. This office belongs to me. Click. Suddenly, an employee opened the door, holding a stack of files. I'm looking for the assistant to handle these documents. Excuse me, Chloe spoke first. Give them to me. I'll take care of it. Scarlett acted first, running to the door to take the stack of files and saying, I've got them. You can go back to your work now. Watching Scarlett hug the files, Chloe's eyes flashed with contempt as she asked, "It's your first day at the company. Do you even understand any of this?" Scarlett smiled back, retorting, "If I don't understand, I'll learn. Did you understand these documents on your first day?" Chloe fiddled with her fingers and looked up slightly, saying, "I started helping him with simple documents 5 years ago, and 3 years ago I moved into the Sterling estate permanently where he taught me many procedures. I've handled many important projects. My experience is far greater than yours, so I think you should give up this position to avoid making a mistake you can't take responsibility for." Scarlett's eyes darted around before she piled all the documents onto the desk, saying, "Fine, since you love being an assistant so much, you can have all this work. From now on, I'll be in charge of making coffee for my dear Ethan every day and giving him massages to relieve his fatigue." With that, Scarlett actually walked out the door and headed towards the coffee station. Chloe was stunned for a moment, realizing she didn't seem to have many ways to deal with this Scarlett. Scarlett was right. She had too many advantages, and her reputation alone was enough to crush Chloe's. The public scandal surrounding Chloe was still ongoing, and a 19-year-old college student with a clean slate had a clear and overwhelming advantage over an ex-fiancé who had jilted her groom and was seen as promiscuous. She had only acted on a small rebellious impulse, so why had it led to this complete and utter defeat? If Ethan had clearly stated from the beginning that he didn't like Leo, she probably would have stopped her foolish behavior. But she didn't understand. Ethan was clearly unhappy and disliked her actions. So why had he never said a word from the start, never even showing a hint of anger? He had remained consistently calm, always smiling at her, which made her believe time and again that he was just being tolerant, leading her to continuously push his boundaries. That was until Ethan began the reckoning. It turned out that his decisiveness during the settlement was directly proportional to how much he had indulged her before. In less than 12 hours, he had taken back everything he had ever given her, severing all ties between them. His words from yesterday, "In what capacity will you remain by my side?" now seemed to have an answer. It turned out that all along, it wasn't he who had locked her in, but she who had locked him down. The moment she lost her titles and status, competitors immediately swarmed in. How was she supposed to win back what was rightfully hers? Ring. The phone rang, and Chloe answered the call. "Chloe, how did your talk with Ethan go? Did he agree to spare the Mason family? At the very least, getting him to agree not to take back the Mason estate shouldn't be a problem, right?" Chloe let out a soft sigh. "The truth is, you've never cared about me, have you? You've only ever cared about how much you could gain from me. I don't understand. Since you knew you had to rely on me to profit from the Sterling family, why did you just stand by and watch me end up in this situation?" Mark was taken aback. Then a hint of anger crept into his voice. "I can't even count how many times I tried to warn you, but did you ever listen? Weren't you always so sure that Ethan wouldn't get angry? You always said you'd smooth things over with him, but did you ever actually try? Every time we wanted to talk to you, you told us to stay out of your business. Now that you've driven him away, you're blaming us for not doing anything. Was it me who told you to adopt that godbrother and godmother? Was it me who told you to constantly defy Ethan?" Chloe gave a bitter smile. "You're right, it's all my fault. He really doesn't want me anymore, so you can forget about getting any of those things back. After Mason Industries is liquidated, there will surely be some surplus, enough for the 3 of you to live comfortably for the rest of your lives. Don't contact me again. He has always been my only family, so don't disturb me while I'm trying to find my way back home." Chloe hung up the phone decisively. Ever since she was old enough to remember, she had lived at the Sterling estate, only returning to the Mason house for a few symbolic days each month. After her engagement at 15, she only went back for holidays. Although both families were in New York City, the Sterling estate felt more like her home. Now she had nothing left but the memories of them growing up together, and she knew the only reason Ethan still kept her around was out of consideration for their many years of history. After much thought, Chloe wiped away her tears and opened the files. If she could demonstrate more of her abilities and value, perhaps she could raise her standing in his eyes, even just a little. In the end, Scarlett couldn't bring herself to be completely ruthless and returned to the assistant's office with a cup of coffee. "Even though I don't know why I have this inexplicable dislike for you, I still want to give you some advice. Some struggles are futile. I have a strong feeling that he won't belong to you, and he certainly won't belong to me." Chloe's expression turned ugly as a hidden secret in her heart was touched. The reason she had become so rebellious, constantly trying to challenge Ethan in this confrontational way, was all because of one person, Serafina. The 3 of them had grown up together, but Ethan always spent more time and effort caring for Serafina. Chloe knew it was because Serafina was mentally handicapped and that it was right for Ethan to give her more attention. But ever since Serafina started developing rapidly at age 13, Chloe's sense of crisis had been steadily growing. Serafina was just too perfect. What might be a major flaw in others, her simple-mindedness, only made her more adorable and pitiable. It was because of this that she began to treat Ethan in a different way, with the original intention of getting more of his attention. If she had known yesterday that Ethan had been grooming her to be the lady of the house since she was a child, that she was the one who was truly favored, thinking about it now, she felt she was hopelessly stupid. "You might be right, but I still want to try. I never imagined that losing him would be this painful. It might be all for nothing, but at least if I try, I'll have fewer regrets," Chloe said, unwilling to give up. She wanted to try again. Scarlett smiled and said, I suddenly realize I don't dislike you as much anymore. Maybe we can sit down and talk. Of course, it would be even better if you could teach me something useful. Chloe stared at Scarlett intently for a few seconds. Scarlett Hayes, I finally remember you. You were last year's top scorer on the college entrance exams in New York. I saw your picture on the freshman honor roll. I just didn't realize you'd be so radiant and sunny when you're all dressed up. Speaking of which, I'm your upperclassman. Scarlett shrugged and smiled faintly. I just remembered too. Chloe, you're a true academic star at NYU, and you were also voted the #1 campus beauty. I just don't understand how you ended up in this situation. Chloe shook her head. I finally understand the meaning of that saying. The favored one grows complacent, while the one who can't have him is always restless. If you want to learn, then stay and I can teach you. But my condition remains the same. You can't touch him. Scarlett hesitated for a moment before finally nodding. After all, her main goal right now was to earn money and pay off her debt. She didn't have strong feelings for Ethan, having only known him for a day, and her antagonism towards Chloe was just due to some inexplicable impulse. At the Sterling estate, Serafina, who was catching bugs on the lawn, suddenly froze. Ding! Plot deviation detected. Unbinding progress increased by 10%. Current unbinding progress, 85%. How could this happen? Serafina was completely bewildered. Has the plot been changed again? It's over. I'm going to die. I'm tired. Just let the world end. Suddenly, Serafina's eyes rolled back, and she collapsed onto the grass, fainting. At the Aura nightclub, in a VIP suite, Ethan was leaning against the sofa, bored out of his mind. He could understand discussing small business deals in a place like this, but the problem was, today he was here to negotiate a $10 billion project with the Ford Corporation. His counterpart was the standout of the younger Ford generation, Julian Ford, a young man who looked to be only 2 or 3 years older than himself. Both were prominent young figures in New York, the faces of $100 billion corporations. The difference was that while Ethan had inherited the Sterling family's initial billions, he had built it to its current scale through his own efforts since the age of 10. Julian, on the other hand, had naturally inherited his position. The Ford family was wealthier than the Sterling family, but Ethan was the richest man in New York because everything he had was his own, whereas the Ford family was large and complex. It couldn't be helped. Money was just too easy to make in this world, and he, Ethan Sterling, was a cheat who had been reborn with his memories, allowing him to simply copy things from his past life, which was like bringing advanced technology to a primitive society. Mr. Sterling, why aren't you drinking? Perhaps seeing Ethan's boredom, some young heir from another family sidled up to him. Ethan smiled and said, I'm allergic to alcohol. You all have a good time, don't mind me. Hearing that Ethan was allergic to alcohol, the others lost interest in him and proceeded to drink themselves into a stupor before being safely escorted home by their respective bodyguards and drivers, leaving only Ethan and Julian behind. Mr. Ford, as you can see, the drinking is about done. Shouldn't we start talking about the partnership? Julian, half drunk, waved his hand dismissively. My Ford Corporation would be delighted to partner with you, Mr. Sterling. However, I find the profit-sharing arrangement to be unsatisfactory. Our company, Julian went on and on, but the gist was that something was missing, and he didn't want to sign. In the end, Ethan shook his head in resignation. Julian was indeed a business prodigy, and there was a reason he had inherited a $100 billion empire, but he was ultimately too young and lacked long-term strategic vision. The proposal Ethan had offered looked at profits 5 years down the line, whereas Julian could only see 3 years ahead at most. Still, for a man in his early 20s, that was already quite impressive. Not everyone could have over 30 years of business experience by the age of 20 like he did. Since you don't see the potential in this project, Mr. Ford, I'll have to look elsewhere. There are a few companies in Boston that have this technology, and I'll go check them out when I have some free time. I won't disturb you any further. With that, Ethan stood up to leave. In truth, according to his plan, the Ford Corporation should have been the one begging him for this partnership, which made this a pity. Julian grabbed Ethan's arm. Wait, I think we can still discuss this project. Ethan shook off his hand. I feel your capabilities and vision are insufficient to handle this project, Mr. Ford, so I'd like to find a more suitable partner. Julian stood up, swaying slightly. This is the first collaboration between Sterling Corp and the Ford Corporation. While your company is powerful, its rise has been too recent, and your network of connections is worlds apart from ours. If our two families work together, Sterling Corp stands to gain much more. For the sake of a long-term strategy, why quibble over such a small profit, Mr. Sterling? Ethan sneered inwardly. A $10 billion investment with future returns of $50 billion or more, and he called it a small profit. He had clearly overestimated this Julian Ford. If you still want a partner, Mr. Ford, then my demand is that on top of the original terms, the Ford Corporation gives me another 30% of the profits. Otherwise, the deal is off. Julian hesitated. His family had mandated that he secure this partnership, and the board of directors had already voted in favor of it. He just hadn't expected that Ethan, despite being younger than him, would be so much more ruthless in his methods. 10% at most. Any more and the Ford Corporation will be operating at a loss. Ethan suddenly burst out laughing. You're so generous, Mr. Ford. Then it's settled. I'll have someone send the new contract to you tomorrow. For a moment, Julian felt like he had been tricked. But there was nothing he could do. He had been the one who tried to pressure Sterling Corp first, so it served him right to be counterattacked. Suddenly, he felt his head spin, and an unbearable heat began to spread through his body. Mr. Sterling, did you drug me? Ethan also sensed something was wrong and quickly checked himself. Mr. Ford, that's a serious accusation. Even with your family's vast power, if I wanted to take you down, do you think I'd need to resort to such a despicable method? What you should be doing right now is calling the police, and then thinking about who you might have offended recently. Julian shook his head vigorously, leaning on Ethan's shoulder to support himself. I can't call the police. If this gets out, the Ford Corporation's reputation will be ruined. Mr. Sterling, can you help me? As long as you help me through this, we can discuss anything regarding the contract. Ethan thought for a moment. Julian represented the face of the Ford family, and if it was revealed that he was drugged while out at a club, the Ford Corporation stock would surely plummet. It would be easy to lose hundreds of millions, if not billions. If he helped suppress the matter today, it would be like holding a trump card over him in the future, a calculation he was more than willing to make. Just as he was about to agree, a woman burst through the door. Mr. Ford is drunk. I'm his friend, just leave him to me, she said, handing Ethan a stack of cash. Ethan was taken aback. Did this woman think he was a waiter? But wasn't this a bit too coincidental? Julian gets drugged, and a woman immediately appears. Could this be one of those classic social climbing schemes? Still, it was perfectly reasonable for a handsome, rich CEO like Julian to be targeted by women, and if she managed to produce a little Ford heir, that would be even more impressive. With this in mind, Ethan instantly changed his plan, pocketed the cash, and smiled. Since you're a friend of Mr. Ford's, I can rest easy. Just make sure you remember my contribution after you succeed, miss. The woman's face paled in shock at his words. Who are you? How do you know? Ethan shook his head slightly and handed Julian over to her. You take him. I'll come to collect my reward from you later. We each get what we want. You understand what I mean? The woman looked at Julian, then back at Ethan, her gaze firming with resolve. All right, I'll remember you. I'll reward you handsomely after this is done. Ethan smiled and waved his hand. Go on, hurry up. The drug might wear off if you wait any longer. Startled, the woman immediately helped Julian out the door. Once they were gone, Ethan followed. He saw Julian being led into a lounge at the end of the hallway, and then the woman ran off. Ethan was baffled. She brought him to the room, so why did she run away? Was she planning to kill Julian? But the guy had just agreed to the contract, and if he died here, Ethan would also suffer a loss. With that thought, Ethan walked over. Just as he reached the door, he saw Julian stumble out on his own. Mr. Sterling. Goosebumps erupted all over Ethan's skin. How could he possibly get involved in something like this? It was better to call the police and send him to the hospital, clearing his own name first. Excuse me, sir. I'm here to clean the lounge. Suddenly, a pleasant voice came from behind him. Ethan turned to see a girl of about 18 or 19, dressed in a special staff uniform and holding a mop and rag. A woman. Julian seemed to have reached his limit, his eyes gleaming as he lunged at the young staff member. Ethan, with quick reflexes, grabbed Julian by the collar. He couldn't let him touch her. That was illegal. If he let this happen, he'd become an accomplice. The girl was also startled and quickly hid behind Ethan. Sir, is he drunk? Ethan thought for a moment and said, he's been drugged. Do you know any of the girls at this club who do that sort of thing? The girl paused, then shook her head. It's my first day, so I don't know where to find anyone. Should I ask my colleagues for you? Ask what? I'm his fiancée. I'm here to pick him up. Just as they were speaking, the first woman returned with another woman in tow. Ethan suddenly understood. The first woman was the wingman who administered the drug, and this new one was the main player. He had done his research on Julian and knew he didn't have a fiancée, but if this scheme succeeded tonight, that might just change. With that in mind, Ethan pushed Julian towards them and pulled the young girl back into a corner. Julian had now completely lost control, lunging forward at the scent of the woman. The self-proclaimed fiancé then brazenly led Julian into the lounge and locked the door from the inside. Before long, suggestive sounds began to emanate from the room, and a wide smile bloomed on Ethan's face. The young cleaning girl blushed and tugged on Ethan's sleeve. Will he be okay? Should I still go in to clean? Ethan was taken aback, his mind racing. You're still thinking about cleaning? Do you have any idea who just went in there? I don't know if he'll be okay, but you're probably in trouble. The girl was startled. What does this have to do with me? I'm just a cleaner. Ethan shrugged. Because you saw something you shouldn't have. The best case scenario is that you'll be fired and kicked out of New York City. The girl asked in terror. And the worst case scenario? Ethan smiled. To be silenced permanently, of course. Hearing this, the girl's legs went weak. She was just a student working a part-time job during her break to earn some money for tuition and food. How could she have known she would get caught up in something like this? Sir, I really didn't know this would happen. Please, I'm begging you, save me. I don't want to die. Ethan helped the girl up. Heh, I was just kidding. This woman dared to scheme against Julian Ford, so she must have some powerful backing. Although you witnessed it, it's unlikely they'd go as far as killing you. At most, they'll kick you out of New York or give you some hush money. At his words, the girl's legs felt even weaker. Julian Ford, the $100 billion CEO of the Ford Corporation, had been drugged by a woman, and she had seen it all. If someone dared to drug him, they would surely dare to kill her. Sir, please save me. You were drinking with him here, so you must be someone important too. You can definitely save me. I don't want to die, and I don't want to be kicked out of New York. Ethan used a bit of strength to help the girl up. Let's get out of here first, so we don't interrupt their good time. The first woman, the wingman, blocked their path. You peasant! I told you to take the money and get lost, but you didn't listen. Now you think you can threaten me? I'm afraid you're not going anywhere now. Ethan frowned. The woman was reasonably attractive and dressed in designer clothes, clearly educated. So why did she speak so crudely? Tell me, which family's dog are you? Hearing Ethan call her a dog, the woman flew into a rage and raised her hand to slap him across the face. You peasant, how dare you call me a dog? You must have a death wish. Thump. Ethan sent her flying several feet with a single kick, and she slammed into the wall. I really don't understand why you people always resort to slapping. And where do you get your sense of superiority? How dare you try to strike a grown man like me? The woman lay on the ground, clutching her stomach, her face contorted in pain. Do you have any idea who I am? You dare to hit me? The Lang family will not let you get away with this. Ethan sneered. I don't care who you are. If you dare to lay a hand on me, you'd better be prepared to die first. The woman was terrified and curled into a ball. I work for Tiffany Lang. Tiffany is the sole heiress of the powerful Lang family of New York. You can't touch me. Looking at the woman's pathetic state, Ethan shot her a disdainful glance before leading the cleaning girl out of the club. The ambush he had been expecting never materialized, which left him wondering what on earth that woman had been so arrogant about if there was no backup outside. Sir, what do we do now? They're definitely not going to let us go. Ethan waved his hand, signaling for Walter to bring the car around from a distance. A lowlife who relies on drugging people to get ahead is nothing to me. If you're scared, you can come work as a cleaner at my house. Mrs. Gable left, so we're short-staffed for cleaning the inner rooms. You're about the same age as my sister, so you two should get along well. The girl was taken aback. From the way he spoke, he didn't seem afraid of them at all. He had a sister around her age at home who needed looking after, and earlier he had instinctively pulled Julian back to protect her, which clearly showed he was a good person. Working at his house seemed much safer than working at a club like this. With that thought, she nodded and said, "Thank you, sir. I'll work very hard." The reason Ethan brought the girl back wasn't out of an overflow of kindness, but simply to have an extra witness, a bargaining chip for future negotiations with Julian and that Tiffany Lang. The two of them got into the car and soon arrived back at the Sterling estate. As she got out and followed him, the girl's shock grew with every step. She had only ever seen such a luxurious estate on television, and its layout was identical to the home of New York's richest man that had been featured on the news. The youngest billionaire CEO in New York, the most dominant business tycoon, the boss who paid his employees the highest salaries. Are you, Mr. Sterling? The legend of New York, the youngest business magnate. Ethan smiled and said, "What? I don't look the part?" The girl looked up and stared at Ethan for a few seconds as his young face merged with the image she had seen on TV. It really was him. She couldn't believe she was meeting such a person. The girl's expression turned to panic, her hands and feet trembling as she quickly lowered her head. I'm sorry, the lighting in the club was too dim. I didn't recognize you. I've offended you. Please forgive me." Ethan was slightly taken aback, then gently tapped the girl on the head. "Nonsense? When did you ever offend me? Besides, I'm a recipient of the Model Citizen Award. I don't bite. What are you so afraid of?" After being tapped on the head, the girl actually calmed down. This powerful CEO wasn't as terrifying as she had imagined. In fact, he had a bit of a mature, almost fatherly vibe, even though he was only 20, just a year older than her. I'm not scared. I'm just so excited to meet my idol." Ethan placed a hand on the girl's forehead and gently pushed it up. "I noticed you've been looking down this whole time. That's bad for your neck. You don't want to get cervical problems at such a young age. That would be terrible." The girl looked up at Ethan, a strange light flickering in her eyes. "He's concerned about me? Why would a stranger care about me when my own family?" Seeing the girl's pitiful expression, Ethan was once again taken aback. "Am I really that scary? Why does this young girl look like she's about to cry just from looking at my face? By the way, what's your name?" "I don't know it yet. I'll have the butler register you later, and from now on, you'll be a maid here. I'll pay you a salary of $5,000 a month. How does that sound?" To maintain his benevolent and glorious image, Ethan changed the subject to her salary. The amount he offered was slightly above the market rate. He would first appease this young girl, spend a little money to keep her, and then, after that Tiffany Lang character made her move, he could bring this girl to the negotiating table. If the other party conceded even 1 percentage point of profit, it would mean hundreds of millions in annual revenue. The girl's voice was filled with excitement. Thank you, Mr. Sterling. My name is Lily Wright. I can clean, do laundry, cook." Ethan waved his hand. "No need to be so formal. We have a chef for cooking, and other maids for laundry and cleaning." Lily stopped in her tracks, a flicker of terror in her eyes. "Then, what will I do?" You're not going to." As she spoke, Lily instinctively hugged herself tightly. Ethan sighed in resignation. "I have a sister who is mentally handicapped and needs a companion. You'll understand soon enough." Just as he was speaking, a figure suddenly burst out from inside the house. It was the same scene as before. As soon as he reached the doorway, a head came charging at him. Ethan instinctively raised his hand to block it, but this time he missed. Serafina suddenly stopped, turned to look at Lily, a hint of surprise in her eyes. Lily, right? Why is she here? According to my timeline, she's supposed to be working at the club today and then doing that thing with Julian Ford. It's over. My idiot brother has messed things up again. Help me. This is murder. Is there no way out for me? Brother, I really couldn't hold her back, Scarlett said, following behind with an embarrassed look. She had no idea Serafina was so strong or had such sharp hearing that she could hear Ethan returning from so far away. One moment they were playing a game, and the next, she had zipped off, impossible to restrain. Scarlett, what are you doing here? Lily asked, surprised to see her. Scarlett was also taken aback. Lily, what are you doing here? Ethan was momentarily confused, then habitually picked up Serafina and walked into the living room. Don't just stand at the door talking. There are seats and snacks inside. The two women exchanged a look and followed him in. After a flurry of chatter, Ethan gathered some information from their conversation. Both Scarlett and Lily were students at NYU. Though in different departments, they were both top students, consistently ranking in the top 10. Lily's family was poor. She had to support a gambling-addicted father, a cruel mother, and a dropout brother who beat her daily. Ethan was at a loss. Somehow, in the past 2 days, he had encountered 2 girls with tragic fates. Did the heavens think he was too kind and send him to save these poor girls? That seemed a bit far-fetched. He wasn't a fool. Just as he was thinking, Serafina, still determined, pressed her lips against his. Damn you, Scarlett. I told you not to kiss him, and you did it again today? You steal his fortune, and I'm the one who loses my life. Damn you, Ethan. You stink. Why did you let this villainess touch you? Are you being fair to the fiancé you raised for 20 years? Stupid system. Do I really have to replenish this fortune? Ethan quickly put a hand on Serafina's head. Scarlett, get her away from me. Scarlett shrugged. I wouldn't dare. She'll hate me for it. You're a grown man. What's the big deal about letting her give you a little kiss? It's not like you'll lose a piece of flesh. Ethan's brow furrowed, his tone tinged with helplessness. It's different. She's grown up now. She's not a child anymore. Lily, not understanding, asked, what are they doing? Scarlett quietly explained the situation to Lily, who then understood. I actually think Mr. Sterling is right. Miss Serafina is very curious, which is all the more reason to teach her to understand right from wrong, to avoid more awkward situations in the future. I can try to guide her slowly, to help her form a... Before Lily could finish, Serafina suddenly turned to look into her eyes. You're the female lead. Why are you being so nosy? Do I need you to guide me? If I don't replenish the fortune today, I'm probably going to get shocked again. Even if you are the female lead, if you dare to harm me, I'm not letting you off the hook. Stupid system. Get her. Lily's mind went blank for a moment. Then she said, actually, satisfying a child's curiosity once in a while isn't a bad thing. She's just a child. What bad intentions could she have? You're her brother. Don't be so stingy. Ethan's head buzzed. What the hell was going on? She was agreeing with him a second ago. Why the sudden change of heart? Before he could figure it out, Serafina started acting up again. Ethan sighed internally, his grip loosening slightly. Under the system's control, Serafina's speed was somewhat extraordinary. All right, no more of this in the future. Serafina suddenly grew quiet. Replenished? It's finally replenished. I won't be shocked. Tonight, I'll just go to Scarlett's room and take back the fortune she stole today. But why does this feel so strange, different from before? Seeing Serafina zone out again, Ethan breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed the two girls were right. As long as her curiosity was satisfied, Serafina wouldn't cause any more trouble. All right, Scarlett, take Serafina for a bath. Lily, go register with the butler. I'm going to sort out the new contract with the Ford Corporation for tomorrow, so you two don't need to worry about me. Time flew by, and the air outside was soon filled with the chirping of various insects. After sending the contract, Ethan looked out the window and smiled. In theory, an estate of this caliber shouldn't have any insect sounds, let alone so many different kinds at once. But with Serafina around, any semblance of normalcy could be shattered. In fact, this closer-to-nature feeling was rather similar to his home in his past life, where running a small, struggling company meant his living conditions weren't much better than an average person's, with casual meals and lodging. He stretched his limbs and returned to the living quarters. In the first-floor master bedroom, Ethan pushed open the door and went directly into the bathroom on the right. 10 minutes later, as he came out of the bathroom and turned into the main room, the lights suddenly switched on. You, don't come any closer. Scarlett sat on the bed with a terrified expression, clutching a remote control and pointing it at Ethan. But then her face turned red, and she quickly burrowed under the covers. Ethan was taken aback for a moment, glanced down at his naked body, and felt a bit awkward. But as a man with decades of life experience, the embarrassment was fleeting, and he quickly regained his composure, calmly taking clothes from the closet. A few minutes later, Ethan threw back the covers and pulled Scarlett up. Tell me, why are you here? Scarlett's eyes widened. Isn't this the room you assigned me? Do you have amnesia? Ethan shook his head. You're the one with amnesia, not me. At the office, we already agreed to switch rooms. So I'm asking you, why are you here? Scarlett's eyes glazed over. They had indeed agreed to it, but with so much going on at the company, including her bickering with Chloe, how could she possibly remember that? Can you let go of my neck first? Ethan casually tossed Scarlett onto the bed. Give me a reasonable explanation. As the earlier scene flashed through Scarlett's mind, her face grew redder and redder, and she stammered, I forgot. I thought this room had, and I was scared, so I. After hearing her explanation, Ethan laughed. This girl had been convinced the room was haunted, and when he came back to shower and woke her up, it led to the scene just now. All right, you can go back upstairs to sleep. Remember to lock the doors and windows. By the way, where's Serafina? Scarlett thought for a moment and said, she got tired from playing with Lily, so I thought it would be best not to disturb her and let her sleep in Lily's room for now. Ethan nodded and shooed Scarlett out. As long as he wasn't embarrassed, the one who would be was Scarlett. Helpless, Scarlett went upstairs with a flushed face. Lying in the bed Ethan had slept in, she tossed and turned, captivated by a scent that kept her from falling asleep. In the middle of the night, a barefoot figure in white moved silently across the living room and arrived at the door of the first-floor master bedroom. With a soft click, the white figure slipped into the room. Inside the room, the hair on Ethan's arms stood on end, and a cold sweat instantly soaked his sheets. In the dim light, the white figure was slowly approaching the bed. Oh my God, this house really is haunted. Ethan panicked internally but forced himself to remain calm, clenching his fists tightly. No wonder Chloe went crazy after staying here, and Scarlett seemed a bit off after just one night. Now it was his turn. Ethan, you really are an idiot. You were reborn into a new world with your memories, so how could you still be a skeptic? Well, now the skeptic has finally encountered the supernatural. Suddenly, Ethan's nose twitched twice. That scent? It was Serafina. At that thought, Ethan shot up and grabbed the white figure in a hug. Serafina was so startled her body went rigid. The system was controlling her to come find Scarlett and reclaim the fortune, but she never expected something to suddenly jump up from the bed. However, she quickly realized it was Ethan, and her panic instantly vanished. Ethan's mind raced, and he quickly put the pieces together. He had told Serafina to sleep with Scarlett from now on, but he hadn't told her that he and Scarlett had switched rooms. She must have woken up in Lily's room and come back here looking for Scarlett. Serafina, be good. Were you scared? Ethan turned on the light and smoothed Serafina's messy hair, a wave of concern washing over him. The girl was already simple-minded. If she were frightened into a worse state, it would be a real problem. Serafina remained in her usual days. You're really something else, my dear brother and sister. You nearly scared me to death. You stink. Ethan, why are you sleeping in Scarlett's room for no reason? Are you sick in the head? Seeing that Serafina was all right, Ethan let out a long sigh of relief. He gently placed her on the bed, tucked her in, and blew a warm breath on her forehead. Don't be scared. Your brother is here with you. Go to sleep now, and you'll forget all about it when you wake up. Serafina obediently closed her eyes. Sigh, such a dense brother. I remember I wrote his character to be a paranoid man. After all these years, I haven't seen much paranoia, but now he just seems so foolish. Was my characterization off? Did I not write him well? Why do I have this strange feeling? Ethan gently patted the blanket until Serafina fell asleep, then went to sit in the hanging chair by the window. Chloe had requested this chair be installed 3 years ago when she moved in, saying she could bask in the moonlight and sunlight here. However, she rarely came home after that, so the chair was still in pristine condition. The person of yesterday was gone and could not be held back. Crack. At an abandoned factory on the east side, Chloe retracted the whip and pulled the gag from Leo's mouth. This is what you get for trying to run. I've told you so many times. Why don't you ever listen? Leo, covered in bloody welts, gave a bitter laugh. It's my own fault for being blind enough to agree to work with a psycho like you. No wonder Ethan doesn't want you. Who could stand a freak like you? Chloe's gaze turned cold. If you hadn't provoked me every single time, my rebellious streak wouldn't have been amplified. If it weren't for you, I would be the lady of the Sterling House right now, the most respected woman in New York City. This is all your fault. Crack. Furious, Chloe struck him with the whip again. Leo gritted his teeth and endured it. It was you. You caused all of this yourself. Every time I advised you to make up with Ethan, I was being sincere. It's your own prejudice that makes you unable to stand hearing anyone say a good word about him. In your subconscious, Ethan is the bad guy, rotten to the core. You're the one who twisted every sincere word I said with your preconceived notions. You're a psycho, a megalomaniac living in a world of your own making, a demon who never treats others as human. What right do you have to make me your accessory? I'm not part of your dowry. I'm a person, a living, breathing person. Chloe's eyes widened as she retorted, I did not. I just saw you all as pitiful people. You earn money, and you provide emotional value for me and Ethan. It's an equal exchange, a fair trade. What's so bad about coming with me into the Sterling family? His parents left him when he was very young. He had to support a huge family business from the age of 10, and he has to take care of a sister who can't look after herself. His life is so tragic. Why aren't you willing to give him a little bit of family warmth? If he had siblings, would he have had to struggle so much on his own? Hearing this, Leo completely broke down. Were these words a human being could actually say? What did she mean? His life was tragic, so I should give him family warmth. He had so much money, but he never saw any of it. He had no siblings and had to care for a handicapped sister, but what did that have to do with him? Chloe, that's enough. Have you ever wondered why every single one of your schemes against Ethan has failed? Chloe sneered. Because he doesn't love me as much as I thought he did. I've known that for a long time. Blood trickled from the corner of Leo's mouth as he burst out laughing. You're such a pathetic fool. You'll never know the real reason. Chloe froze for a moment and dropped the whip. Tell me why, and I might consider going easier on you. Fearing for his life, Leo's mind raced. Wake up, Chloe. The reason you failed isn't because he didn't love you enough. It's because you didn't love him enough. Did you think I would be your puppet, to be manipulated as you please? Do you think Ethan Sterling would let you manipulate him too? From the day we signed that agreement and you brought me to meet him, he had already decided to stop loving you. Because you're not worthy of anyone's love. You're a lunatic, a psycho hiding behind a mask of love. Every time you couldn't get what you wanted, you didn't dare get angry or question him, so you made me his stand-in. After beating and torturing me, you'd start to regret it, tormented by your conscience. And I'd have to kneel at famous landmarks all over the country, praying for him to absolve you of your guilt. You're a self-deceiving psycho, and it's truly pathetic. Slap. Chloe suddenly went berserk and slapped Leo hard across the face. Shut up. It's not like that. You have no idea how much he loves me, and you certainly don't know how much I love him. I can't even bring myself to speak loudly to him. How could I ever question or hurt him? It's your honor to take his punishment. I provided for you, lent you so much money, all of which came from him. Is there anything wrong with you praying for his health and safety? Hearing this, Leo's mind shattered once again. This psychotic woman was truly terrifying. He had to find a way to escape. He was certain this psycho would kill him as an apology to Ethan. That's bullshit. If you really loved him, I wouldn't even exist. But it's true that he loves you. The frantic energy around Chloe slowly subsided. You're saying he loves me? You're not lying. Seeing that his words were having an effect, Leo breathed a sigh of relief internally. Yes, he loves you very much, and he understands you. Even now, he still can't let you go. Have you ever wondered why, in all these years, there has never been another woman by Ethan's side? A man as brilliant as him would have been swarmed by beautiful women anywhere he went, but he rejected all of them for you. He's a responsible and committed man. And you're an idiot. But luckily, he still has deep feelings for you. If you let me go now, I can teach you how to win back his affection. Chloe's crazed expression faltered for a moment, and she quickly regained her composure. You're saying you have a way? Leo spat out a mouthful of blood. As long as you let me go, I have a way to make him come back to you. Chloe suddenly pulled a dagger from the small of her back and, without a second thought, plunged it into Leo's shoulder. First, I'll disable one of your arms. If you dare to deceive me, you will die a very painful death. Leo gritted his teeth, enduring the pain as his mind began to calculate. Don't you two have so many years of history? And you're already sure he wouldn't just leave you to die. Why don't we stage another drama, a self-inflicted tragedy, and pin all the blame on me? When Ethan finds out I've been deceiving you all along, he'll forgive you. I'll create some commotion, make you two go through a life or death experience, and he'll surely come back to you. Chloe's eyes lit up at the suggestion. If she could use Leo to resolve the issues between them and then go through a life or death situation, Ethan, being a man of deep sentiment and loyalty, would surely forgive her. At the very least, he probably wouldn't hate her. With this in mind, she immediately began to discuss the detailed plan with Leo. The next day, at the Sterling Corp headquarters, in the assistant's office, Scarlett felt it was strange that she hadn't seen Chloe. Miss Hayes, we've received a notification from the Ford Corporation. Mr. Ford will be coming over to sign the contract with the CEO, so please make the necessary preparations. Still feeling puzzled, Scarlett received the notice and was immediately dumbfounded. It was only her second day on the job. How was she supposed to know what to do? This was a meeting between $200 billion CEOs. The scale of it was beyond her imagination. What should she do? Call Chloe? She quickly got a message that the call could not be completed. She started to panic. Ethan pushed the door open and walked in. Scarlett gave an awkward smile. I've never handled a situation like this before. I'm so sorry. Ethan shook his head. It's just a contract signing. Arrange for a quiet place and have some tea ready. That's all. In New York, Sterling Corp doesn't have to bow to anyone. Remember that. Scarlett nodded in a daze. As a 19-year-old student, how could she possibly understand these things? She had no idea of the actual power of Sterling Corp or the Ford Corporation, but with Ethan's reassurance, she felt at ease. The signing was arranged to take place in the coffee shop downstairs. When Ethan met Julian, he was also taken aback. Julian's face was pale, with dark circles under his eyes, and his gaze was unsettlingly intense. Mr. Sterling, you've really caused me a lot of trouble. Hearing this, Ethan smiled and said, Mr. Ford, what are you talking about? When have I ever caused you trouble? Julian glanced around and noticed a beautiful woman standing next to Ethan, which made him blush with embarrassment. Ethan understood and waved his hand. Go downstairs and tell the owner we're booking the entire place. Offer double compensation to any customers who are still here. Receiving the order, Scarlett immediately went to clear the area. She wasn't blind or deaf. It was obvious that Julian felt embarrassed, and if she got in the way and jeopardized this $10 billion contract, she couldn't afford the consequences even if she were sold dozens of times over. After a while, once everyone had left, Julian finally breathed a sigh of relief. Didn't I ask you to save me last night? Why did you just run off? Ethan feigned confusion. Your fiancée came to pick you up. What reason did I have not to leave you with her? Julian sighed. Well, about the fiancée, I do have a childhood engagement pact with the Lang family, but the girl went missing when she was very young. The woman from yesterday was the Lang family's adopted daughter, Tiffany. She's always wanted to inherit that engagement, but I never imagined she would resort to such a despicable method. Now she's using this to force me to marry her. What am I going to do? Ethan frowned. It's just a family alliance. Whether she's the adopted daughter or the biological one, all you need is a pretext. That Tiffany is also a beauty, and she must have deep feelings for you, otherwise she wouldn't have done something like that. Why not just agree to the marriage? Why are you so conflicted? Julian sighed in frustration. She doesn't have feelings for me. She's just after the position of the Ford family's young mistress. If I agree to this marriage, wouldn't it be unfair to the missing Lang family heiress? Ethan's mouth twitched. With this kind of indecisiveness, he couldn't understand how Julian had become a CEO. Why do you care if it's fair? The Lang family can bring you benefits and solidify your position in the Ford family. Isn't that enough? Don't tell me you're in love with the… Wait, have you ever even met the Lang family's biological daughter? Julian shook his head. I was only 5 when the engagement was arranged, and she had just been born. She went missing after she turned 5. I've never even met her. I don't even know her name. Hearing this, Ethan fell silent for a moment. So, you're saying you're going to honor an engagement to a missing person you've never met and whose name you don't even know? Are you crazy? Do your parents know you're this much of a romantic? Julian gave an awkward laugh. It's not really about the fiancée. I just don't like Tiffany. Ethan took a deep breath to calm himself. It's just a family alliance. Why do you have to like her? That Tiffany has the looks, the figure, and the family background. What's not to be satisfied with? What? She can't satisfy you. But looking at your face, that doesn't seem to be the case. Julian looked troubled. But I don't like her. Ethan shook his head, already deeply disappointed in Julian. As the heir to a massive corporation, he was far too emotional. For an heir of his stature to be so preoccupied with romantic feelings meant that with just a little manipulation from someone, the Ford Corporation would surely suffer heavy losses. Partnering with someone like him was extremely risky. Before he could speak, Ethan's phone vibrated. Seeing it was a call from Chloe, he answered. I have Chloe Mason. Get $10 million in cash and bring it to the east side to ransom her. Don't call the police, you have to come alone, or I'll kill her. After hanging up, Ethan thought for a few seconds, then dialed 911. Someone has kidnapped Chloe Mason on the east side and is demanding a $10 million ransom. The police department received the report and immediately dispatched a rescue team. After hanging up, Ethan continued, I think I need to seriously reconsider our partnership. You're too emotional, which makes me doubt your capabilities. Julian pointed at the phone. Isn't Chloe your ex-fiancée? She's been kidnapped? Aren't you worried? Ethan's brow furrowed, his disappointment in Julian growing. First, Chloe and I now only have an employer-employee relationship. Second, rescuing her is the police's job. My worrying is useless and would only create an opportunity for someone to take advantage of the situation. Let's terminate our partnership here. And a piece of advice. You're not cut out to be a leader. Hearing this, Julian stood up. Mr. Sterling, I can concede another 10%. Why don't you reconsider? Ethan shook his head. If the Ford Corporation remained under Julian's control, its future was bleak, and he certainly wouldn't partner with a company that had no prospects. That won't be necessary, Mr. Ford. I have some other matters to attend to. Perhaps we'll meet again another time. With that, Ethan decisively walked out of the coffee shop and waved to Walter, to the east side. Although he had drawn a clear line with Chloe, he hadn't reached the point of leaving her to die. If the other party was only after money, he was willing to pay the $10 million. Walter floored the gas pedal and sped off. At the abandoned factory on the east side, Chloe and Leo had finished setting up the kidnapping scene. After being hoisted up, Chloe asked nervously, will this really make him come back to me? Leo nodded seriously while checking the strength of the ropes. You can trust me. This time, I'll definitely get Ethan back into your arms. After being suspended, Chloe felt a strange sense of panic. If you dare to try anything funny with me, you will die a very ugly death. Leo smiled and said, I'm just a powerless nobody. How would I dare to have any ill intentions towards the great Miss Mason? I just want to take back what's rightfully mine. Hearing this, Chloe's face paled, and she began to struggle frantically. You'd better let me go right now, or Ethan will never let you get away with this. Leo shook his head. Of course I know Ethan wouldn't just ignore you. I just want a little money so I can leave New York and get away from you, you demon. Chloe suddenly understood. You dared to trick me. I'll make sure you die a miserable death. Wee woo, wee woo. The sound of numerous police sirens echoed from outside the abandoned factory. Both Chloe and Leo froze. Ha ha ha. Chloe, do you see that? Ethan called the police. He wouldn't even spare 10 million for you. Think about how good he used to be to you. He gave you a supplementary card to spend as you pleased, bought you whatever you wanted, and a betrothal gift of 300 million, more than your entire Mason family is worth. And now, he won't even give you 10 million. You demon, you're finally getting what you deserve. You personally destroyed the person who loved you most. If I tell him today that we conspired to deceive him for 3 years, do you think he'll still care about that pathetic friendship between you two? Chloe was petrified, then began to struggle even more frantically. Leo, let me down. I promise. If you let me down and swear not to tell him the truth, I'll let you go, and I'll even give you 10 million in compensation. No, 30 million, 50 million. I'll send you far away. I'm begging you, just let me down. A cold sneer crossed Leo's face. I've been a fool once. Do you think I'll be a fool a second time? I wouldn't dare take your money. I'm afraid I'd get it, but not live to spend it. Besides, who is Ethan Sterling? He's been dominating the business world since he was 10. How many families have been ruined because of him? I know how ruthless he is. I couldn't even escape from you, let alone from him. He doesn't want you anymore, so you're useless to me now. Chloe was horrified. What are you going to do? The police are here. If you dare to hurt me, you're finished. Ha ha ha. Why would I hurt you? I can live a good life. Why would I seek death? Do you think I'm as stupid as you? After cursing Chloe out, Leo put his hands on his head and dropped to the ground. He had originally planned to extort some money and run, but now that things had gone beyond his expectations, he immediately changed his plan. Confession brings leniency, and it wasn't like he'd get a life sentence. It wasn't a real kidnapping, at most a prank that would earn him a verbal warning. He was prepared to expose everything about Chloe, which would at least eliminate Ethan's resentment towards him, and could even land Chloe in some trouble for a while. He would use this opportunity to run as far away as possible and never get involved with a psycho like her again. The police surrounded the scene and slowly advanced, only to see one person lying on the ground and another hanging from above. However, based on the current situation, the person on the ground was covered in injuries and seemed more like the victim. Help, officers, please, help me, Leo shouted from the ground. The group of officers was baffled and all looked at Chloe. Suspended in the air, Chloe was speechless. What could she say now? Leo had decided to betray her, and anything she said would be futile. In his limited edition luxury car, Ethan's phone vibrated. What? The kidnapper was caught? A prank? Okay, I'm on my way to the precinct now. After hanging up, Ethan's mouth began to twitch uncontrollably. What the hell was this? Two psychos playing him for a fool? In the mediation room at the police station, Ethan looked at the silent, head-bowed Chloe and the miserable-looking Leo, and his head began to throb. Ethan, please, save me. I can't take it anymore. I'm begging you. Take Chloe back and lock her up. Don't let her out to harm people again. Please, I'll get on my knees and beg you. Bang. The police captain slammed his hand on the table. Watch your words. Unlawful imprisonment is illegal. Ethan smiled and said, Captain, don't be angry. I'm a model citizen. I would never do something like that. Let's have this Leo explain what happened first. Leo wiped away a tear, took out his phone, and opened the photo gallery. Ethan, look at these contracts. Even though they're handwritten, I'm sure you can recognize the handwriting. Ethan took the phone, scrolled through the album, and quickly browsed over 30 contracts and agreements, his expression growing increasingly strange. Chloe, the handwriting on these is identical to yours. I was the one who taught you how to write. Tell me, did you write these? Chloe couldn't refute it and simply nodded. Leo quickly added, Ethan, watch the videos below too. You have no idea how much I've suffered for you all these years. Suffered for me? Ethan was confused for a moment, then played the videos. Each clip was short, clearly filmed in secret by someone afraid of being caught. After nearly 100 videos, Ethan finally understood. It turned out Chloe hadn't been lying that day. She and Leo were indeed innocent, but he couldn't imagine how such a beautiful girl could become so psychologically twisted. Had he raised her wrong? But he had cherished her since she was a child, never letting her suffer any grievance or psychological harm. Her rebelliousness and immaturity were understandable. After all, he had spoiled her. But how could she have become a psychopath? Chloe, is this what I taught you all these years? The more he thought about it, the angrier Ethan became. If his flower had been picked by someone else, he would have been heartbroken, but he could understand. Beautiful things are always coveted, and a rebellious teenage girl pursuing what she perceives as beautiful is natural. But now he was being told that this flower had been mutated from the start, had long since become a carnivorous plant, and had even gone out and bitten someone. Wasn't this a direct slap in his, Ethan Sterling's, face? Being jilted at the altar was something people would laugh about for a while, but raising a psychopath for 20 years would be a stain on his reputation for life. Once this news got out and was spun by malicious parties, his character would be questioned, and Sterling Corp would inevitably face immense public pressure. Chloe had nothing to say, simply keeping her head down in silence. Ethan took a deep breath. Leo, I know you've been wrong these past few years. I can compensate you, and I hope you can reach a private settlement with Chloe. Leo shook his head. I don't want compensation, and I won't press charges against her. All I want is for you to write me a guarantee, witnessed by the police, promising that you will never cause me any trouble again. Leo knew from personal experience that he stood to gain nothing by confronting a powerful family like this. They were a massive enterprise, contributing so much value to New York City each year that even the police would likely turn a blind eye. Chloe would surely get a light sentence, while he, Leo, would definitely face retaliation. Who would dare to take money from such a ruthless character? Hearing this, a faint glint appeared in Ethan's eyes. After this incident, he had indeed been planning to get rid of Leo. But now it seemed Leo was quite clever, having started collecting evidence years ago. If he tried to eliminate him now, there would inevitably be repercussions which would lead to even bigger trouble. We can write the guarantee, but I will still give you compensation. I hope you can take the money, find a better place to live, and heal from your trauma. Leo knew Ethan was afraid he would go back on his word. As long as he accepted the money, if he ever tried to speak out again, the Sterling family's power would be enough to turn public opinion against him. All right, give me 10 million, and I will take the guarantee and Chloe's secrets, and leave New York forever. A wise man submits to circumstances. After all his suffering, Leo had finally understood. Taking the guarantee and the money, he took a flight out of New York that very night.